Welcome to Bears on Tap, hosted by Quentin Q. Crisco, Sonny Verma, and the one and only Ron Luce, bringing you all the news, analysis, and opinions on the charter franchise, Chicago Bears.
And welcome back. We are Bears on Tap. My name is Quentin Crisco. I am joined by Mr. Ron Luce. Mr. Sonny Verma will be with us shortly. Free agency is here. Free agency started just like 30 seconds ago. And Ron, how are we getting our news?
Literally any way possible, because perhaps the biggest platform that spreads news very quickly, that it is what it is X, and there's a massive outage to the point where, like, if you go on X right now, you get a 525 warning. So, like, it is full blown down. So there is the great migration to you've got Blue Sky. I know our friend Samir was joking with us in the groups, our Slack channels this morning, that he's refreshing NFL.com like the Jay Cutler days. It's a little nostalgia as we open up free agency. It feels like back to the days of just frantically refreshing NFL.com.
Right.
And I might almost have to do the same thing with a little NFL Network on the TV or something, just kind of for the old time's sake today, because we don't have that instant gratification in terms of rumors coming through right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was sitting here going like, yeah, we still have Rap, right? Rap is on Blue Sky, and I'm betting that Rap's Blue Sky is just someone who copies his tweets and sends them, because he hasn't posted anything in like 30 minutes here, and it feels like there's got to be news flying. And so I guess NFL.com is our home base for this, right?
Sure is. It sure is. And again, Q, honestly, I appreciate the little bit of nostalgia with having NFL.com up as like the main source for information, because this really does take it back to like the mid 2000s, right? There was no X. Like, Facebook was in its infancy. Like, to find things out, you sat there and you watched NFL Network all day, or like ESPN, or one of these big like sports networks, and like that's what it was for free agency. I did the same thing. I remember doing it even during COVID. It was kind of fun because like that, it felt normal, I guess, as crazy as that sounds, but that's what it was at the time, right? With everything going on, everybody was like, oh, cool. Well, at least all these insiders could just call in from their houses and tell us what's going on. We're getting some of that reminiscence here today, but we do have a couple comments. Q, Sully the Ragged saying, unbelievable. He needs baseless rumors, and he needs them now. We got some bear downs. And speaking of bear down, hello, Mr. Verma.
Thank you, gentlemen, for letting me on. Apparently, I was on the AOL dial-up system, just like how we're getting we're talking about how we used to get information way back in the day. I appreciate you guys being patient with me.
First move, Hassan Reddick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, let's go. That one came through fast.
Yeah, so that was per Schefter on ESPN. So I'm gonna pull up the ESPN website as well, because that's probably a good source.
I'm going there as well. Oh yeah. Free agency tracker for all the sickos in the world.
This is how you know Elon's not a sports fan.
Yeah.
That's facts.
So we also got Becton is testing free agents. So Becton didn't come to an agreement with the Eagles, but the Bears have added 2 guards. I'd be a little surprised if they went and paid Becton now. And then Jonathan Allen to visit the Vikings.
Yep.
And Ben Bredesen returned to the Buccaneers. That's an offensive guard center for them. He re-signed with them. And boys, Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack is not returning. There is no return of the Mack.
Return of the Mack. I was hoping to be able to blast that song on repeat today. There was a small part of me that was really, really hoping for that. Like, and it's kind of a bummer. Fun. Yeah. Speaking of nostalgia, while we're on the topic of nostalgia, that would have been very nostalgic. Having a Khalil Mack. We were talking amongst the three of us before this, and Sonny and I were both prepared. We got my Khalil Mack jerseys hanging in the closet in the next room. So like it was ready to come out if the news broke that he was coming back to Chicago. But I mean, you got to be happy for him though, right? He doesn't have to uproot his family or anything. He gets to stay put, and he's getting a ton of money still. Another $18 million for one season.
$18 million is a lot of money. I can't blame him for that. The Chargers losing Bosa, it makes sense for them to want to at least try to keep one of the guys there. I would have liked to have him. I know we talked about this a little bit before, especially on just a 1-year deal. I could have made use of my jersey, as Ron said, for at least one more season. But I think there's younger options out there. And so I'm not going to lose any sleep over this.
Yeah, I was like, say the Bears had signed him to a 2-year, $18 million deal with like some guarantees in the second year, I would have been fine with it. But like, I don't know. I was kind of conflicted on it because it's like, I'd love to see Khalil Mack go in the Hall of Fame as a Bear. He spent like 4 years on 3 different teams. And it's like whoever he goes to now is probably who he goes in the Hall with. And I think he does still have something to offer, but like, I don't know. It just is a lot of money to commit. And my imagination with that is like for him to move his family, he's got like 2 kids now. And for him to move his family back to Chicago, he probably needed 2 years of money guaranteed. Would be like, that's how it makes it worth it. That he knows he's going to be there for 2 years at least. And they couldn't do that. And he's like, okay, well, we're settled on the West Coast. I mean, that's my read on it, that they couldn't do that. And, I'm okay with it. I guess I just don't have a strong opinion that like they couldn't get it done or that like they should have gotten it done. It's just kind of, okay, we'll move on.
It would have been nice just because he's a good player. Like if nothing else, it's just like, we are getting closer and closer. And so like Khalil Mack bringing back a familiar face who, despite his age, he's still putting up pretty solid numbers. And so it would have been nice just to add another good player on the defensive side and kind of focus on other needs in the draft. But who knows? We still might get someone maybe a little younger at that spot.
And any of you guys watching us, if you see something come through before we start talking about it, throw it in the comments. Let us know so we can get it as fast as we can. But for now, I mean, gentlemen, we haven't talked since all the big moves. Like we got Jonah Jackson, we got Joe Thuney in the house. Like, how are we feeling about this offensive line right now?
Man, I am so fired up. And you know what? I'm glad we're getting to talk about this today and not last week when these trades were reported, because now you were starting to hear the rumblings and reports over really probably the last 24 to 48 hours that the guard market's going to be crazy. That the expression I saw that I think sums it up beautifully is that good players are going to get great player money. And yeah, that's free agency in a nutshell. But kudos to Ryan Poles. I mean, you're taking a couple of calculated swings with some older guys, sure, but even Jonah Jackson at 17 and a half and Thuney at his current dollar value are probably going to be steals given how this free agency cycle is going to go. You extend Thuney for 2 years, you can push the money out and you can defer it a little bit more that way. Jackson is really just a 1-year guaranteed contract. If things don't work, you move on. If not, you keep them around and maybe you restructure them at that point. I think Poles did such a great job pulling that off. And it's also 2 guys that they're both familiar with, right? Thuney signed in Kansas City right around the time where Poles was kind of sort of still there. And then in the case of Jonah Jackson, this is a guy that's super duper familiar with Ben Johnson and had a lot of success working with Ben Johnson in their time together in Detroit. So I like the move. I don't hate familiarity, especially when it comes to the offensive line. You got 2 veterans. Q, you preached it all season. They need at least one guy, one veteran. Why not go get 2 that know exactly what's going to be asked of the rest of that offensive line? Really good work by Ryan Poles, and I think we're going to feel even better about it as we see numbers start to shake out with some of these guards over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and then obviously into the rest of the week.
And as we're talking about the Chiefs, they have signed offensive tackle Jalen Moore to a 2-year, $30 million deal. So the Chiefs go and get their guy there. And then as Burke mentioned in the comments here, Chris Godwin is going back to Tampa Bay. So those are two players
Ooh.
off the market, but neither of whom were really strong Bear considerations. But Sonny, where are your thoughts on the Bears offensive line after these couple trades that we've seen come through?
I'm very similar to how Ron's feeling. A guy like Thuney, if he was in the free agency pool right now, he'd be one of the guys that we'd all be keeping an eye on. And we know he'd be one of the top targets at his position. And with free agency, again, we're about to see what these numbers look like. I think Ron put it perfectly. They're going to make great salary. Very good players are going to make elite salaries very, very soon. And to be able to lock in a guy like Thuney, who also doesn't miss many games, just to have that type of foundation in front of Caleb, a guy who's going to walk into the locker room on day one and really be a leader on that. He's a guy that all the younger players are going to be able to look up to. I think he's been to the Super Bowl 4 times in 9 years. I think I read something ridiculous like that. And he plays at a really high level. I think that one was a great pickup. I'm not super excited about Jackson, but I'm open to seeing, like you said, it's very low risk. If it doesn't work out, it's only 1 year. But I trust Ben Johnson. I think these both are very strictly Ben Johnson moves. And if we're going to pay all that money for Ben, there's a reason for that. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt until he strikes out on something.
So with Jackson, I think it gets really interesting because you see a divide between like PFF grades for him and the way that guys like Duke Manyweather and Brandon Thorne see him, where there is I believe I haven't gotten the chance to watch a ton of tape on him yet, but I believe there's an element to his game that just comes down to body blows and just comes down to beating down your opponent, which is something that Ben Johnson values and something that offensive line guys like Duke Manyweather and Brandon Thorne really value. Like, he might not be consistently executing everything perfectly, but he's making people feel his presence every single down he's on the field. And by the fourth quarter, that wears a team out. So I think that is really where his value comes in. I think he's going to miss games. I think he's going to be like availability wise, I wouldn't be shocked if he is right there with Tevin Jenkins as far as how often he's on the field. But I don't think his injuries are as detrimental as Tevin's were. So I think there's a bit more reliability there. So I want more depth, basically, is what I'm saying behind him. Like, I think you can get that in the draft. If you can go get like a Drew Dahlman here, I'm okay with it. I don't love Drew Dahlman as a fit, but like I think it can work well enough. Or like a Ryan Kelly, I think would be a guy who you can attack at center as well. And you pair him with a rookie center, I think you have something strong going there. But that's the riskier choice, if I'm being honest with myself. Drew Dahlman is the safest bet. Even though I don't know if he's ever going to live up to the contract he gets, I think that's as safe as it gets.
It's also one of those situations where if you have to overpay for Dahlman at that center spot, it's easier. Overpay is considered like $14 million, right? If you overpay at some of the other positions, you're talking about paying like $25, $26 million a year, which takes up a more significant part of your salary cap. So I'm just of the mindset that I need a veteran center I can trust. And I know Dahlman's going to make more money than he probably is going to be worth on the field. But it's just a position I'm tired of guys running through the center of the Chicago Bears offensive line. We're setting up Caleb for success. And if it does mean overpay, I get it. But even overpaying that position isn't going to take up as much of your cap as if you're trying to gamble on a different position.
And Sonny, I hate to break it to you, there will be some moments where Drew Dahlman gets run over in pass protection, but it won't be as often as Coleman Shelton. Like, it won't be as often, but like pass protection is not his calling card, but his intelligence, his communication does go a long way. When you pair that next to Joe Thuney, who is a strong communicator, very intelligent, very reliable offensive lineman, and hopefully Jonah Jackson can be that rough and rumble guard next to him, because in Atlanta, Drew Dahlman played between two monsters who helped cover his pass protection issues.
And I think that's too why the fit feels so right now with the Bears, especially now, right? Obviously, the Dahlman fit was already kind of present, but now it's even more present. You have, I'm going to use it because this is what they are. You got two motherfuckers at each guard spot now that are going to, like you said, Q, impose their will. And I think that's something that is severely underappreciated amongst a lot of NFL fans, not all NFL fans. But you got to think about it in the sense of, when was the last time the Bears offensive line imposed their will on anybody? Not in our lifetimes, probably. You probably got to go back to those teams in the 80s. Maybe you could argue those teams in the mid 2000s with guys like John Tate and Reuben Brown and Olin Kreutz. Like, you had some MFers on that line. It's been a long time. Now you've got the personnel that's going to allow that to happen. And we already know what Darnell Wright can do in the run game. We know the athleticism of a guy like Braxton Jones. And maybe it's only for one more year, and his eventual replacement is coming in at left tackle in a season from now. But nonetheless, you go get Joe Thuney, who's one of the best offensive linemen in football. I mean, the guy, as a natural guard, bumped out the left tackle and was at least serviceable for a Super Bowl appearing team. And then you go get a guy like Jonah Jackson, who, cute, you said it perfectly. Ben Johnson values guys that are maulers. Jonah Jackson's a mauler. And that would cover up a lot of the deficiencies for Drew Dahlman in the passing game. And it would allow Drew Dahlman to then utilize. It's weird. Centers are like a three-pronged attack, right? Are you a good run blocker? Are you a good pass blocker? And are you intelligent? And Dahlman's got two of those three, right? We know he's maybe not the greatest pass blocker, but he's got the other two. What better security blanket than two really good guards who in pass pro are some of the best. I think what's most important there, and Q, I know you'll appreciate this. We're going to get a little nerdy into the offensive line talk here. Perhaps from what I've seen, Jackson and Thuney are two of the best guards when it comes to stalemating guys at the offensive line, at the line, right? In terms of a jump set, they're getting on guys quick. They're getting their hands on guys quick. And that's only going to help a guy like Dahlman, because now he's not going to have to drop as much. He's not going to be able to get into a bad position to get picked, because these guys are all going to be stalemated immediately. And that's going to allow Dahlman then to sift things out and work where he needs to work, if that ends up being the move that the Bears pursue. So you got to be pumped about what they've already established. And now, because of the other nonsense that, teams are going to have to endure with the guard market, we can all kind of step back and take a breath and go, okay, what is the next move for this Bears team? Because, again, there's going to be a lot of other moves, right? There's going to probably be a third receiver involved at some point in free agency here. There's going to be a lot of depth at other positions that gets involved too. So, obviously, we're focusing on a lot of the big names right now, but it's going to be some of those little names too that are going to be fun to see. But, yeah, man, the trades were awesome. I'm not going to lie. I'm super, super, super fired up about having those two guys on the line, because, man, the Bears O-line's respectable for maybe the first time ever. How cool is that?
I'm just going to throw up some Drew Dahlman stuff. Wow, it's not the most presentable way, but like, it's something, which is more than, better than nothing in my mind. But just that's just some stuff from week one of Drew Dahlman out there run blocking and pass blocking just off NFL Plus. But I figure it's good stuff to have up there while we're talking about him and the offensive line. But really, I wonder how much Drew Dahlman might because Ben Johnson, we've seen Ben Johnson run zone heavier schemes, gap heavier schemes, and balances of both. And Dahlman has been a zone center for his entire career. And they base that entire, their run scheme around wide zone in Atlanta and outside zone. It's Shanahan, McVay principles. I wonder how much Ben Johnson with Dahlman in there might lean on his zone background and do a little less of his gap background.
True. Go ahead. Sorry, Sonny.
No, I was just going to say, it looks like the 3 years, $66 million for Godwin. Just update salary, $44 million guaranteed.
Oh boy, there's a lot of, speaking of guaranteed money, so far there has been a lot of guaranteed money getting thrown around. Of that 30 million that Moore got, I think a little over 21 of it's guaranteed.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, for a guy who really has just kind of been a fine player. Moore, I feel like he hasn't been a clear starter. It's just been more like a swing guy, really, for the Steelers before this contract.
Okay. Yeah. See, I don't know if these people are credible, because I do have
What are you seeing? We can always walk.
Okay, 43,000. Bears are signing Drew Dahlman to a 3-year, $42 million deal with $28 million guaranteed.
Diana Rossini just confirmed that.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Okay.
3 years, 42 million, 28 guaranteed for Dahlman.
All right. But can you repeat that one more time?
Yes.
3 years, 42 million, 28 guaranteed.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's not bad actually.
No, less than 15 mil a year. Like that's, I'm good with that. And really a 2-year commitment sounds like obviously you got to get some of the fine details measured out in there, but to understand how much is guaranteed, because you might have like a roster bonus that becomes guaranteed the first day of the second league year of the contract, like, so that there might be some weird stuff in there like that. But a 2-year guarantee at under 15 mil a year for the top center in the class, that's good with me.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about, like 14 million in my example earlier, and I think that's exactly what it came out to. It's a lot of money, but it's not like, oh, your heart skips a beat money, and only with 28 million of it guaranteed, you can still draft a younger guy that you like, and hopefully kind of, meant to have mentored and develop into the future center.
And hey, this is the overpaying for Dahlman, which this doesn't seem like an egregious overpay to me.
Yeah,
to be
that's
clear.
what. Yeah,
but like this is the cost of waiting this long on center. It's like they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point. Like, we just need the best center we can find, and this is the best center out there on the market. So makes a lot of sense. We have Amp Moss in the comments saying now draft Jared Wilson. I love Jared Wilson. I don't know if they're going to spend the draft capital on him after paying Drew Dahlman, though. That was kind of the Ryan Kelly aspect. It was like, you can get a Band-Aid and draft Jared Wilson, or you can just pay Dahlman and just say, this is our solution at center. Because I don't think you're going to sit Jared Wilson for 2 years. And I don't think either of them have a lot of guard flexibility there. But yeah, I like it. I'm good with it. Sonny, now that that's done, where are your eyes set? Like, what are you thinking is next?
Let's flip to the other side. I think, we still need another edge. The thing is, like, I'm glad this Dahlman transaction happened now, because I feel like the longer we wait, we're just waiting for someone else to set the market. And I think the Bears got such a good number, not like a solid number. I won't say a good number, but a solid number on Dahlman, that it was one of those where I was hoping that they'd get the deal done within the first hour of free agency, because otherwise I don't think it would have happened. Now it's on the defensive side, right? Who's available? I don't think they're going for a top guy. So maybe right now the top guy is they're going to wait. The market's going to wait on him to sign to set the market. But do they wait on a guy like Chase Young, or, do we want to go younger on the defensive side? I'm not sure. What do you think?
So I thought I saw that Chase Young re-upped in New Orleans. I could have been mistaken on that, though.
I don't think that ever got confirmed, Q. I saw that too.
This morning I didn't see it. Yeah, I looked for it.
It didn't get confirmed by anybody that has your traditional blue check marks.
Okay.
But that being said, there was smoke at minimum that there was a chance he was gone. Speaking of other moves being made, a very under the radar one that I think is kind of interesting. The Texans agreeing to a 1-year, $2 million deal with Braxton Berrios to come in at wide receiver.
I've never exactly understood why Braxton Berrios is so low paid. I think he's a pretty darn good football player, but
he is, especially when you consider his impact on returns, because he can return kicks and punts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's sticking around. He's also been in the league for a long time. I think a lot of people forget how long he's been around, but that's an interesting move, especially after talk about Houston going from Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins to Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, and Braxton Berrios with a touch of John Mechie and some of the other youth that's in that room too, especially now knowing that, Tank Dell is pretty much at least done for this year. Who knows what 2026 looks like for him, but I mean, he just underwent ACL surgery, so he's going to have a hard time, coming back from that nasty injury that he sustained.
Yeah, he will. And I'm seeing this on the ESPN tracker. They have a little note that the Dahlman deal now makes him the second highest paid center in the NFL, which
Saw that too.
that's, I mean, honestly, that's fine. I mean, I think we were all kind of walking into this expecting with the salary cap boom that if they sign Dahlman, he'll be the highest paid center in the NFL. So, I mean, I think that's a solid deal for the Bears, even though it's an overpay. Like, it's fine. That is what you hope to get out of this.
It's free agency. Like, you overpay in free agency. That's like, it's a very rare. I mean, Ryan Poles has tried going the other route in free agency, trying to find diamonds in the rough, and it never works out. So I don't mind being the aggressor here. I mean, there's 5 or 6 other teams that wanted Dahlman. He is a known commodity. And so, I mean, I'm very content with that pickup. I think we're at the very least 2 out of 3 I'm very happy with on that offensive line.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about edge rusher before going off a little there. And I think honestly, if I'm Ryan Poles and I'm sitting here looking at this, I want Josh Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going after Josh Sweat. Like, I think it's such a D tackle heavy class that I'm not that concerned about Milton Williams, but I want the best defensive lineman I can find to be able to just plug in and say, okay, you're starting. So right now, Austin Booker's your starter across from Montez Sweat. And I don't know that a rookie solves that for you either. As much as I think there are some rookies in this class who you could plug in, like, they're still rookies. They're still going to have their ups and downs. And it would be nice to fill that spot in, even though I'm not sure it's to me, the offense is the bigger need for sure. Like, you need to get Caleb right. You need to get him in the place where he's going to find the most success. But I feel good about this interior O-line class and the D tackle class. So it's like, where else are we spending the money?
But Sweat, the only hesitancy I have is like Sweat's another guy who's probably going to set the market, right? And I know the Bears are being aggressive. They're being super aggressive. They started with being aggressive, getting Ben Johnson and paying more money to a head coach than they've ever done before. And obviously, now doing it with Dahlman and, bringing these higher priced free agents. Well, I guess not free agents, but through trading these higher salary capped linemen. Are they going to do it again with a guy like Sweat? Because again, they're not going to get him for cheap. There's not going to be any sort of discount with bringing Sweat. And so I guess I like what you're thinking. I just don't know if the Bears are going to be that all in on it.
So I'm really interested to see where Sweat's contract comes in, because on PFF's projection, he was looking at like he was supposed to be making 3 years, 18 mil a year. He wasn't resetting a market on PFF's projection.
So that's Mac money then.
Yeah. That's Khalil Mack money, which it'll probably come in over that. But like, if it's a little over that and not resetting the market, then like, I get it. The guy can rush the passer. He has that in his bag. We know he can do it. But if it is the reset contract, or the market setting deal, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I like that as much, but I don't know. It's a tough balance at edge rusher, right? Because like, if you can sack a quarterback, you're going to get paid. And you don't find these guys outside of the first round in the draft. It's just rare that you do. So it's kind of like, I'd do it if there's any other spot. Like, I'm probably just looking at O-line depth. Like a guy like Patrick McCarry, I might be interested in with 5 position versatility. I'm not sure what type of money he's going to be looking at, but that ability to play and back up all 5 positions, that would be outstanding. And he would give real push to Jonah Jackson, as far as like, we got this guy competing right behind you. If you're not healthy, he's going to take that job. And I kind of like that idea. He's projected a 3-year, $8.7 million a year deal. It's a lot for a 6'0" lineman, but I don't know. I kind of feel like the Bears are in that spot where they might need to do that because of Jonah Jackson's health issues and Drew Dahlman's missed time the last 2 years. like having Macari be able to step in at center would be big too. And his wife does play for the Chicago Red Stars.
You should have led with that, Q.
Yeah, I forgot. Well, my initial thought was, oh yeah, I gotta talk about that, and then I just went off on a tangent and was like, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention my whole initial thought.
You gotta. It's always good to have that connection though, because when we thought there was no chance, he roped us all back in.
BJ Hill back to the Bengals, 3 years, $33 million per Shefty.
Back to the Bungles.
I like BJ Hill. He's a good football player.
So I know you guys do a fantastic job, scouting the NFL draft. When it comes to, that third wide receiver, like a more of a speedy guy, what's the talent look like for this upcoming draft, at least?
I haven't even dug into receivers that much yet. I've been focused really on the trenches more than anything on both sides. And I mean, basically everything except for receiver and defensive back I've looked into. But
I'm just curious, do you spend money on the free agency side on that third wide receiver, or do you think that, that you can take a flyer with a mid draft pick in the upcoming draft?
I just look at Detroit's third wide receiver over the last 3 years and say they never invested in it for Ben Johnson's offense.
Mm-hmm.
They were always bottom of the barrel guys who were just gritty, could run a go route and blocked like hell. So to me, those guys are always available. You can always find those guys. The third receiver has not been a big thing for them. The second tight end has been important, but the third receiver has been kind of plug and play, just whatever you can find, and we'll make it work. Like Tim Patrick's a free agent who was in Ben Johnson's offense last year. I think that could make a lot of sense. I do get nervous about trusting Tim Patrick's health, but as long as you bring some backups in who are a similar mold of player, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think there will be guys in the draft like that. There are every year guys who can just run and block and have a big body. Like they don't have to be able to run a full route tree or do a bunch of different things. They just have to love hitting people and be fast.
I think the other thing too that will be interesting to watch. I know a lot of people are super hyper fixated on a guy like Tim Patrick, but the OG third receiver in Detroit is also a free agent, Josh Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth keeping an eye on that. Detroit, or pardon me, not Detroit, another big cat. The Jacksonville Jaguars were happy to get rid of him in their onslaught of clearing cap space, pretty much leading up to today. So it'll be interesting to see if that's a route. I could see it for this year where they bring in one of those two guys on a 1-year deal where Ben Johnson says, hey, look, you've worked in the system before. You know exactly what I'm going to ask you to do as the third receiver. And then if you do, if you are the Bears and you do want to take a guy maybe with one of those 2 5th-round picks, then you say, okay, at least we can bring him in. He can be groomed behind a guy that's done it before. And then if we don't want to bring back the veteran in the second season, you can turn to a rookie and say, look, your role now, go do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think I'm with you, Ron. I think there's a bit too much focus on Tim Patrick where I don't think they're going to be overly focused on anybody for that third wide receiver because they don't want to pay a lot of money for it. So if there's competition for Tim Patrick, I don't know if they're trying to match that competition. I just don't know if they see anything as being key enough for that third wide receiver.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just going to swap this game over to the second game for Drew Dahlman.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that he's signed.
Yeah.
Who else do we want? We should put his video up. Maybe every time Q puts someone's video up, all of a sudden they sign with the Bears. Let's put Josh Sweat highlights up.
Yeah, let's get some Josh Sweat highlights up here. Maybe, just maybe. You never know. I like that world of thought there, Sonny. I applaud the.
I mean, you can't tell me it's not happening. I mean,
yeah. Hey, we're not superstitious. We're just a little stitious.
So I believe I can set this to, just his pass rush snaps.
Oh yeah. Just want to see him bend the edge. Can we watch him against? Can we just watch him against Mahomes in the Super Bowl? That sounds fun.
Right. That's all you need.
Let's see. So I can do.
What was it, 2.5 sacks?
Let's just watch his playoffs, pass rush snaps. Let's take the pressure off because that's all right. So we had 28 playoff pass rush. What is this? Oh, this is just the wild card. Okay, let's just do just the Super Bowl.
Just the Super Bowl.
And I think he's number 18 over here. Let's see. Actually, 19. Number 19. So that was the same guy. I just had the number wrong. And let's see if the magic happens where we put him on and the Bears sign him. The Commanders have agreed to a deal with Javon Kinlaw. No details yet on the pricing.
I like Javon Kinlaw as a DT. He's such an interesting player because I feel like he was such a high draft pick and he's never gotten the attention of a high first round pick, but he's performed very admirably as just a very not great but serviceable player. And sometimes I know everybody's like, well, you need your first round picks to hit and they need to be superstars. Yes, of course, especially the guys at the top of the draft. But like, what was he, the 14th, I think, overall pick in his draft year or something like of that nature? I mean, getting a guy that at least has been consistent and you know what you're getting out of him. And I know he's been probably more of a really nice number 2 to a lot of teams, more so than like the guy, but just a nice player. So that's a good get for Washington, especially now that there's no Jonathan Allen in the fold. Does this mean now that in Madden, Jonathan Allen's not going to be the like unblockable pain in the ass that he's been for like the last 9 years of that game?
It's got to. I mean, I think so.
Thank God. Oh, gentlemen, when I tell you that there's one player that, because I run the piss out of the football. I am Ben Johnson in Madden play calling form. Like my quarterbacks get severely neglected and never win awards because David Montgomery or whomever I have on my roster runs for 2,000 yards every year. But every time I play the Commanders, Jonathan Allen makes me want to throw my controller through the window. Every single time.
He's got like one like unblockable move, like it where it's
all it is, but it's unblockable, so it doesn't matter. Oh, it's brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal.
We had in the comments, I guess there was a YouTube issue where our stream stopped, but we're back now. So sorry about that, folks. If we disappeared, it made me nervous. It's like, oh crap, did they pull it because I'm showing this? Like, usually we're fine with showing like all 22 tape. We've never had an issue before.
No, we have never had an issue before. It might just be a bad day for the internet, if we're being brutally honest.
Yeah. Shout out, by the way, to Thelonious Monk, a member of the Locked On Illini Discord, joining me over here on the Bears on Tap side. Appreciate you joining me on this side.
Hell yeah.
3 years, $45 million. Freaking low.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's wow. Good for him.
This is what I'm talking about. You know, like there's no such thing, especially within the first couple of hours of free agency, of not overpaying. And I did not get that reaction from the Dahlman signing, so it's like I'm good with that.
Oh boy, I mean, Javon Kinlaw has never had more than 5 sacks in a season.
It's career high 4.5. You're right. Last year.
I want to be
like
I want to
pressure guy, but like, whew.
I want to be a painfully like just good NFL player right now because everybody's making crazy. But again, I think the one thing that everybody's got to also keep in mind, and I'm even reminding myself of this, and I know we've seen some stuff in the comments about like overpaying guys and whatnot. Like the reason this is okay is because the NFL salary cap is exploding at such a nauseating level. I mean, it went up $25 million this year or something crazy like that. I mean, that's another star player for almost every team in the league, which is absurd when you really consider it. Like, look at Tampa. Tampa's bringing back Godwin on a $22 million a year contract. So you effectively got Godwin back for no change from your prior year salary cap. And can still go add guys because you cut contracts and you renegotiated things and whatnot. It's crazy. Lonius says it was due to policy violations. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna wipe that out. I mean, we're back up on YouTube now, so like evidently they undid it, but I don't want to mess with that. So we're just gonna wipe that down.
We'll just play him in the background. It's gonna serve the same juju purposes for like lighting the incense and making sure that that the football gods are paying attention.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because I'm actually doing it directly from the NFL Plus.
That could be
toolbar and not like on my own. Like I didn't cut it up myself. Maybe that's something. But I mean, they let it come back on, so maybe it just went up for review or something, and they unflagged it. But
did you boys see the guaranteed money for Kinlaw?
30. I mean, I did not think Drew Dahlman would be making less than Javon Kinlaw coming into today. That is
right.
shocking.
Talk about the plot twist of the century. Oh, this is an interesting one. On ESPN2, I don't unfortunately have a television in front of me right now. I wish I did. But Dan Orlovsky suggesting that Jameis Winston could be the Vikings UFA QB option if Daniel Jones goes elsewhere to be behind JJ McCarthy. That is interesting and kind of a fun little nugget of information, if I say so myself.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, hey, you get famous Jameis in the building, you're going to be good for some memes here and there. It's gonna be a good time.
And we get to see him twice a year. How cool is that?
I mean, he'll get to hopefully not make some snow angels at Soldier Field, because that would mean he's happy about something. But
yeah, it's true. That's a very good point. I tend to agree.
You can slowly see a lot of the NFL Twitter trickling onto Blue Sky, by the way. A lot of these accounts are saying, oh, well, the other app isn't working, so here I am. I am so-and-so reporter from so-and-so.
Apparently the Steelers are I don't have a sound source on this, but the Steelers are apparently in talks with Aaron Rodgers.
I saw that.
That doesn't surprise me. I know that was kicked around kind of leading into free agency.
I had this thought this morning because I was in Chicago this weekend. I live in Philly, but like I was in Chicago visiting family, and so I didn't pay a ton of attention to what was going on in the NFL because we were busy the whole weekend. And I saw the DK Metcalf trade and new contract this morning. I was thinking, like, if you could convince Justin Fields to start throwing into coverage, you could make George Pickens, DK Metcalf, and Justin Fields work pretty beautifully. But now that's the dilemma with Justin Fields, right? It's like, it's all the, if you can get him to do it, it'll work. But that downfield threat would be sick.
That would be sick. Speaking of apps, while we're at it here, it looks like the other app may be working. Don't quote me on that. I am attempting to revive.
Zach's back.
The notifications are coming through for what that's worth.
Okay. And we apologize if you guys are getting bounced around by YouTube. Apparently the stream is bouncing back and forth, but
stupid YouTube. Nobody can get their shit right today.
I know we've done that before.
Yeah.
Where we showed the portal on here. I mean, it probably wasn't as much, but like it had never been an issue previously.
Everybody's just being buttheads today. Nothing's going smoothly. Everything's been just straight menace level all day long. The Patriots are signing linebacker Robert Spillane. 2 years with Las Vegas, 158 tackles, 2 picks, 2 sacks. Oh, this was last season. 158 tackles, 2 picks, 2 sacks, and 7 pass breakups. Oh, he entered the league as a UDFA under Mike Vrabel. Of course he did. Mike Vrabel's just getting the band back together up in New England because he also signed Landry as well. That happened, I believe, yesterday.
All right, so I'm going to put a poll in the chat. Who do you want the Bears to sign next? I'm putting in Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. Who else should I put?
That's a great question. What's his name? Dio, that everybody
Oh, Diode Ingbo.
part of. Okay, I lied. The other app is not working. This
Yeah,
one.
I tried logging on. It didn't work, at least from the browser wise.
Yeah, the browser's definitely been giving issues all day. The mobile's been a little bit more friendly. Also, the Jags are signing Jordan Lewis per Peter Schrager and the insiders. He's going to be the NFL's highest paid nickel corner. So, what does that mean for Kyler Gordon? That might be a great question to ask because he can be extended.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna get extended.
Did Ryan Poles fumble not getting Gordon extended before free agency when all these dollars are going to come out, and now his agent is going to be able to walk to the Bears and say, here's what we want because these are the dollars that are being paid to these guys?
I'd be shocked if his agent wanted to sign before free agency. They knew where the cap was going. You know,
true. That's a fair point.
Unless the Bears just blew him away, which at that point you're speculating. Like maybe they could have gotten it done, but like I don't know. But I think I don't know. Maybe it would have been worth trying to do because you know that you're going to be re-signing him. Like you need to re-sign a draft pick. Like Poles is hitting that territory where he needs to show that faith to someone.
Agreed. Yeah, I was going to say, because that's right. There's everybody that he's given extensions to are either players he's traded for in the case of DJ Moore, or players that he has gone out and acquired, or has kept around from the prior regime, i.e., our friend Mr. Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, well, and even like. I want to say this is the first year where, because you have to wait 3 years before you can extend a guy. Is that right? A first round pick?
Yes, when they are, I believe you can extend because Gordon was a second rounder, so
yeah,
they all signed the 4-year deals. There's no options with them because that's only for first round picks. So yeah, it's after that third year they can extend him. So I mean, they can effectively extend him as of today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised though if that gets done by midweek once the league year officially opens, and there's a few deals out there that kind of give the feel for what the market is for a top nickel corner. I mean, that's what Gordon is if we're calling a spade here.
All right. Northern Illinois legend Jimmy Garoppolo, or not Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois. I don't know why did I have Northern in my head? I knew that.
You're thinking of Orange Bowl legend Jordan Lynch.
Evidently. But Jimmy Garoppolo heading to the Rams to back up Matt Stafford.
Yep, going back.
God, Northern. Why did I say Northern?
Yeah, they're all. It's all in the same state.
A bunch of my high school buddies went to Northern. I knew that because they were talking to me. They talked Jordan Lynch up to me, and I was like, I don't know. Like, is that going to work?
Spoiler: it didn't.
It did not.
Spoiler: he did not become anything. Which is he is. Where's he coaching? Isn't it Mount Carmel? Isn't he back in
the Is he there with Matt Bowen?
I think he's the head coach at Mount
Carmel. Oh, is Matt? I thought Bowen was at Carmel. I could be wrong.
No, I think Lynch is. I thought he was at Carmel. At good old Mount Carmel High School.
And the Robert Spillane deal has officially come through for the Patriots. 3 years, $37 million. I like Robert Spillane. I've always been impressed by his game when I flip on Raiders tape.
Yeah, good ball player.
He looks massive out there. He's just like, he's so long.
6'1", 230 he's good size.
Yeah.
He's 29. He'll be 30 pretty much at the end of the season. So he'll play the majority of the season at the current size that he is.
And you are right, Ron. Jordan Lynch is head coach at Mount Carmel.
Good old Mount Carmel High School.
Where's Matt Bowen then? I thought he was at Carmel.
Carmel High School? There's also Carmel High School.
Oh. Okay.
There's Carmel and there's Mount Carmel. Yeah. Catholic League in Chicagoland area is stupid. There's a lot of schools with a lot of similar names.
Yeah, I never knew anything about the Catholic League growing up there. Honestly, I
You
I
really-
knew they existed, but that's all I knew about it. Or no,
I'll
he's
tell
at
you what.
IC Catholic. He's at IC Catholic.
Oh, okay.
Bowen.
Most of the I feel like a nauseating majority outside of your like Loyolas, like of the notable Catholic League programs are all like Southwest. So like where I grew up and currently live, out this direction is where a lot of those are, like St. Rita, Mount Carmel, Brother Rice, like St. Lawrence, all those schools are out this way. And then you've got, Loyola that you can bake in there. You've got De La Salle downtown. So yeah, there's enough. There's a few, but
Yeah.
good old Chicago Catholic League, man.
Yeah, we out in at Glenbard West, we knew nothing of that.
That's okay.
We did get Matt Bowen to talk to us before a playoff game once because he's a Glenbard West hitter himself.
Oh, yeah?
He went there, yeah.
Nice. We love that. We love that. Yeah, I saw this the getting close with the Steelers for Rodgers.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Again, I don't know if it's the most credible source, but it's interesting. Interesting nonetheless.
It's wild. And Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles, in 10 days, they completely revamp the Chicago Bears offensive line to the point where I don't know if anyone's upset about it, right? I don't think there's anyone out there saying, we could have done better.
So
Somebody will be mad about Dahlman signing. Somebody
Yeah.
will be mad that they gave up draft capital for the other two. There's going to be one
That's
miserable asshole that is upset. That's the loudest of everybody too when it's all said and done.
Yeah. I mean, if there's
But I agree. The
if there's still
overwhelming
Bajan baddies
majority.
out there, then of course there's going to be someone complaining about
course.
this one
But
as well.
I agree with you though, Sonny, in the sense I think the overwhelming majority of Bears fans are incredibly pleased. And again, I think that amount of pleasure in terms of how they feel about things is only going to get better once we start seeing some of these guard contracts come out.
yeah,
I think as soon as some of these numbers start getting announced and you start seeing like 4x80 for guys that are not worth 4x80,
you see,
that's when
Wolf
people are
making
going to go,
that, like, yeah,
Ryan Poles, King Poles, he's back. You'll start seeing all the posts again. It'll be back.
yeah,
But
And this year, it's not like one of those where we're convincing ourselves that the Bears made good moves, right? Like we're kind of doing mind gymnastics, thinking, oh, well, no, in a way, this is kind of like, a guy that has been overlooked. And, Ryan Poles, he is an offensive lineman. He knows how to spot that talent. No, right now, the Bears are going out and getting the consensus top guys out there. So, yeah, I mean, I think so far, a really good start.
yeah. I'm pleased with it. And when they made the Jonah Jackson trade, my mindset was like, if this is your first step one of a 4-step plan to fix the O-line, I like it. If this is step one of a 2-step plan to fix the O-line, I hate it. And we've already seen three moves here. We'll probably see a draft pick, which makes it 4. Hopefully 2 draft picks makes it 5 new offensive linemen in that room. And right now, like Jonah Jackson is probably the 3rd best addition on that line, the 3rd most reliable addition, I guess I should say. But so that's what I wanted him to be, right? Like when they made it, it's like, this can't be your big move. This has to be one of your smaller ones. And that's where we are now. Like it is one of the smaller ones. So I'm pretty okay with that. Even at his salary, it's just 1 year. There is value to only having a 1-year commitment there.
definitely. And I think too, like you mentioned the reliability. I think something that a lot of people forget with Dahlman. He played 9 games as a rookie, 14 games as a second-year pro, but then the last 2 seasons he suited up for every single game for the Falcons.
I thought he missed time this year.
17 games.
Huh. I don't know where
17 games. Yeah. So I mean that speaks volumes about, what Dahlman has done, unless I reread it backwards. But
oh no, he missed time this year.
oh, did he?
He only played 9 games this year.
Oh, then I definitely read it backwards.
Okay.
I 100% read that shit backwards. Then that's on me. Yeah. Okay.
Broncos were Hufanga.
Who did?
Wait,
Broncos working to sign safety Talanoa Hufanga.
oh, from the 49ers?
Sure.
Yeah. And the Jaguars just signed a 3-year deal with cornerback Jordan Lewis, previously of the Cowboys. Another nickel corner. So it'll be interesting to see where that money comes in at.
What are you guys' thoughts on someone brought him to my attention, Azeez Ojulari, as a possible option at the edge. He's missed some time, but his per snap numbers look really, really good to me. And he's not going to cost a lot of money. I think he's only like 23, 24 years old. I don't know if you guys have any feedback on him.
He's been good when he's been on the field.
Right.
It's the injuries are probably, you don't know what that sapped from his ability. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what his injuries were, but I thought they were the more serious kind of degree. If you're not counting on him, you're getting him cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
If you're asking him to be your number 3 edge rusher, I don't like it, because there's a very real chance he plays 10 snaps this year and that's it. And you're counting on him to play 400, so as a buy low, sell high kind of option with not a lot of, you're not counting on him for much, I'd like it. But if not, I don't see the point.
There's
Ron,
a beautiful shot at Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on one of the old apps this morning. It's a shot at it's the old X app and Jerry Jones, the old handshake of not being active during free agency. It was a good chuckle.
Yeah, I saw you chuckling over there. I was like, what's he laughing?
Yeah,
I want to know.
Just chuckling at shots being fired from all angles this morning. Ooh, the Giants have agreed to terms with Paulson Adebo.
Okay. He's been good, I bet you.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a guy who was like, I kind of a little bit wondered if the Bears might be interested in, just because he's Dennis Allen's, like that was Dennis Allen's draft pick. That Dennis Allen developed that guy. Like, so I was a little curious there. I didn't think they would be in on it, but like, I was wondering what they might be looking at, or what the Bears might consider there.
Definitely. Interesting note here. I know the Bears aren't involved in this market, but I feel like a lot of the teams the Bears are going to be playing this season are involved in this market. So it feels relevant to our discussion here this morning. But Chase Daniel chiming in with Jimmy Garoppolo's 1-year deal. He's getting $11 million from the Rams to be a backup quarterback. As Chase Daniel puts it, Jimmy G just got $11 million. QB market is alive and well. Tells you he had other opportunities. So I think that's interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of quarterback movement in this year's free agent class. Maybe more than ever before. Maybe since the Brady dilemma of him going to Tampa.
Yeah, or like Kirk Cousins in free agency. Like those were always wild when he went to the Vikings. Then last year went to the Falcons. But there was only one guy, like you got Sam Darnold who has options. We've already seen Jimmy G get.
What is he going to get? Is he going to get like a Baker Mayfield contract?
It's got to be. It's got to be a roughly Baker-esque contract.
Good on him. If I'm him, I'm sending a couple $1,000 check back to KOC and
probably not as
his season in Minnesota. For the
probably shorter than Baker's was.
Because what was Baker's 3 years or 4 years?
3?
I thought it was only 3.
Let's see.
That's why I feel like it could be at least similar to Baker's. It might not obviously be exact, but I could see at least similar.
Yeah, 3-year, $100 million. So, and Darnold was projected by PFF at 2 years, 30 per year. So 2 years, 60 mil. I bet you he comes in over that.
I bet you he does too. I bet you some team goes to a third year with him, because I think there is going to be a slight bidding war for his services with at least 1 or 2 teams. And I think he's going to push 100. Maybe he doesn't get 100, but I could see him getting 3 by 90 to 95. But then I could also see crazy guaranteed money where maybe it comes in at like $75 million of that's guaranteed.
Ooh, really?
Oh, yeah. The way guaranteed money's being thrown around right now, Javon Kinlaw got $30 million guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to justify after that Kinlaw deal might have thrown the whole market in disarray.
And even the Moore contract, one of the first signings today. Like that Moore contract is is 21 of the 30 million guaranteed. It's over 2/3 guaranteed.
Milton Williams was projected at 3 years, 63 million.
Over.
Yeah, after
Hammer
that
the
Kinlaw
over.
one, like,
Hammer the over.
yeah,
Williams, Javon Kinlaw is about to get a lot of thank you cards in the mail from a lot of defensive tackles.
it's
'Cause
the
all those
Christian
dudes
Kirk.
just
It's the
got an-
Christian Kirk contract from a few years ago when all the receivers no one would sign receivers because they were like, "This is outrageous. What the hell did Jacksonville do this for?"
Yep.
They screwed everybody, and that's what the Kinlaw deal might be here.
All of a sudden, the D tackles are now a sexy move.
Like even BJ Hill, he was projected 2 years, 10 mil per year, so 2 years like 21 million, and he came in. What BJ Hill come in at, like 30?
Thought it was 33.
That was 3 year 33 though. So the average, I mean, looking at the
The
Kinlaw deal, the
AAV
BJ
was-
Hill deal is a steal.
Yeah. Well, BJ Hill's what? Also, though, like 31.
29.8. So yeah, about to be 30.
Okay. And Kinlaw's only what, like 27?
Yeah, I want to say he's 20. Let's see.
He's young because he came into the league really young.
Yeah.
So even though he's been around
27.4,
for,
so yeah, 27.
yeah, okay. Oh,
Seeing
we're
the
at-
market go the way it has, like, how happy are we that we got Jalen Johnson at the number that we got him at?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, JC. We haven't even talked about the JC Horn extension that happened.
That's exactly what I was referencing. $16 million more than Jalen.
That's crazy. Yeah, Jalen's not even in the top 5 paid corners in the NFL, which is bonkers.
70 guaranteed for JC Horn, man.
Yeah, out of what, 105?
Out of 100.
100?
It could reach 108 after incentives.
Ugh.
It's expensive to play for the Panthers.
It's expensive to play in the NFL.
I bet
Oh
the Panthers
my
had to play
goodness.
a premium. What?
Milton Williams to the Carolina Panthers is close.
Really? Oh my God. They must be just giving him the stadium.
Well, everybody, I know, like there was so much hinting that Carolina was going to be crazy active leading up to this, and they have been.
Carolina's D line might be nasty.
Oh yeah, with Derek Brown and with I mean, obviously Burns is gone, but I mean, still, you got him and Williams.
Well, if they bring Clowney back, like it was,
Yeah.
I don't know if they will. Or was Clowney a 2-year deal last year?
Can I propose something that we're not going to like, but I'm going to propose it anyway?
Sure.
What if they got Josh Sweat too?
That would be a lot.
You want to talk
Like
about
that.
overhauling your defensive line?
Yes, they still have Clowney. That was a 2-year deal.
That'll do it. That'll fucking do it, man.
Oh boy, I mean, let's be honest. The NFC South is pretty. I mean, the Bucks aren't. The Bucks are solid, but they're not like a juggernaut. The NFC South can be taken.
Left
100%.
tackle Dan Moore signs a 4-year, $82 million deal with the Titans.
Wow, he got paid.
$50 million guaranteed.
Jeez.
What a year to be an average player on the NFL market, huh? Am I right?
Braxton Jones is loving that.
Oh yeah, Braxton Jones is licking his chops. He's going, shit, I'm gonna go from 5th round money to that. Yeah.
Just, I mean, do a lot of yoga, Braxton. Get that back and neck healthy this year because you're going to be making some disgusting money off of it.
Seriously.
Because like Dan Moore is a fine player, but I mean, he's definitely in the Braxton Jones territory of offensive tackles.
Just imagine what just imagine what Darnell Wright's gonna get.
A lot. And you're
Granted, we're a
You're
few
gonna
years
pay
away
it
from that, so.
smiling.
But again, that's the beauty of us getting our offensive line essentially, or at least 2 of the big pieces done before free agency started. The Bears aren't panicking. We don't need to panic. We can kind of rest easy, focus on that one spot, the center spot, and we got the guy we wanted for not a crazy. I mean, after today, after we see the day one list, I'm sure we're probably going to see it from you boys at Bears on Tap of like the best signings, especially value wise. I think that Dahlman one's going to come out pretty high.
Yeah,
I agree. The numbers on Jordan Lewis are being reported. I don't know if you guys have seen them. 3 years, $30 million, $20 million guaranteed, and 12 and a half of it is this year. So I'm wondering if that's kind of the benchmark now for a Kyler Gordon contract.
yeah. I mean, I think Jordan Lewis is a little older, isn't he?
That's a great question. Let's go find out together. I need to find how the fuck to search people here. Oh my god.
29 and a half.
Okay. So, I mean, are we looking at like a Javon Kinlaw contract for Kyler Gordon? Like 3 by 45? Oh my!
I mean, I think so. I mean, who was the other nickel who got signed so far?
I don't know.
I thought there was another one. Maybe not.
Derek Barnett is going back to the Texans on a 1-year deal for $5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fun, weird oddity here. I can still get alerts from X if I have notifications on.
Yeah.
I just can't use the thing.
Earlier, I was still getting like message notifications, but I couldn't see the message once I opened the app.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, it's a never-ending wasteland.
And Don in the comments saying that Drew Dahlman is going to get much better with two Pro Bowlers next to him. I mean, I love that optimism, but he was playing next to one of the best offensive guards in football in Atlanta and next to another really good offensive guard on the other side. So, like, I think you're hoping that it stays pretty level, like because they had a really strong unit around him in Atlanta already. Not that I don't love the optimism. I just don't know if he's getting a lot better in this situation than he was previously.
Yeah, I think he'll ultimately just be fine. Can I help you, sir? Do you have comments that you want to share on the air? I have a 4-legged creature that wants to join our conversation here.
Okay.
What do you think about Drew Dahlman signing with the Bears? Do you like it? Do you want to go run around and celebrate it outside? Was that what you want to do? Oh, okay.
My dog Buckiss is not allowed on the air. He's too crazy.
No. Well, this one's very vocal, so he would actually make for some fun. That's how he feels about Drew Dahlman signing with the Bears. I'm really excited to see what Williams is getting from the Panthers, because I think it's going to be crazy money.
Yeah, no, I do too. Like, it's going to be a lot. All right, so it's time to probably do a new poll on here because our primary option is now gone with, or one of our primary options is now gone. So let's see if we can do another. How about what position should the Bears attack?
Can you not? What position should the Bears attack? I feel like you have to attack edge, right?
Yeah, so I mean, we could do edge, we could do
Defensive
line depth.
Yeah. A running back.
Ooh, a running back.
Isn't that what I've been telling you, Q? We've needed a running back this whole time. It's not even draft day, and I'm already quoting the damn movie. I've been seeing clips for like everywhere.
We'll go with edge. Let's go with running back. Let's go with D tackle. Let's go with O-line.
Don's got the right optimism here. I think we should get happy and just put all the past trauma away. This is a new era with Ben Johnson. I certainly hope so, man. I think we're all just so jaded. It's like hard to be super excited.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm excited, but like it's
a sense of cautious optimism.
Right. I can't jump in with both feet like I used to be able to.
Patriots are signing Carlton Davis to a 3-year, $60 million with $34.5 million fully guaranteed.
Big old dollars.
Kyler Gordon's going to get paid a lot.
Speaking of big old dollars, hilarious thing here. Somebody quote tweeted Somebody said Dan Moore making more than Ronnie Stanley is something I was not ready to see from this free agent class. And then the response to the quote tweet is Ravens getting the deal done before the open market was one of the best moves of the offseason by a mile. And the response to it is Ronnie Stanley frantically Googling how to erase DocuSign signatures. That's crazy though, man. Like Ronnie Stanley, probably one of the most marquee names that you can make an argument for at left tackle. The Ravens get him for $20 million a year. And then Dan Moore goes and gets more than him on the open market.
That's wild.
Bonkers.
Dude, there is we talk about this on our O-line show sometimes, Ron. There is a serious shortage of quality offensive linemen in the NFL right now. And like
there definitely is.
The guys are not entering the league ready to play. And you are like a lot of times it seems like you're drafting athletes who just don't really know the position.
It's true. You really are. It's hard. There's not a lot of super technically sound offensive linemen, in my opinion, anymore, which is a damn shame because you got to be so big and so athletic. You know, sometimes those guys just aren't technicians. It happens. And you got to learn how to play the position. That's why you got to appreciate the guys like Joe Thuney who are just so good at it. And can do it for so long. Oh my goodness. I hear you. Okay.
You know, seeing some of these numbers going off on the free agency, I almost wonder, like, do you think the Bears might be done? You know, just kind of wait out at this point. Like, that's why I said earlier in the show that I really wanted to get the Dahlman deal done right away, like within the first hour, before the other contracts start popping up. And we know, Poles is not historically, the Bears aren't really historically a franchise that goes all out when it comes to signing these sort of monstrous contracts. And I just think with every one of these new signings that keeps getting reported that we're kind of at the point where Ryan Poles and the Bears might be like, all right, we might be done. Let's just wait for day 3, day 4, the second tier, the third tier guys, and try to get them at a little bit more reasonable number.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of been Poles' MO.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. Because the Bears, they're not every year the team that's going out there, but it's like they have their select years, right? Where they're like, okay, we are adding this, like they are like the checkbook is open and we are adding. Like 2018 was one of those years, right? Where they're just like, we are adding big free agent, big free agent, big free agent, big trade. And that's kind of how this offseason felt like it was coming in to me. But I mean, the market is so drastically high right now.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean,
and I don't think that's the way Ben Johnson wants to build.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Thuney and Dahlman are two big names. It's like they can still pat themselves on the back, but then also recognize, hey, we do have a lot of cap room, but some of these numbers are insane.
Yeah,
and it might. Ron, I'm not sure if you caught what I had said but I was talking about with all these new contracts that are coming out, every couple minutes. Mm-hmm. Do you think the Bears at this point might just be like, all right, let's just sit back and relax? They've already been pretty aggressive, over the last 10 days. But some of these numbers, I just don't know if they're worth it. And the Bears have never really been such a super aggressive spending team in the past as it is. Do you think we might have seen the last of what the Bears are going to do for the time being?
I think they make one more notable move today.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they had probably like 2 or 3 guys in mind that they were really high on, like immediately. I think Khalil Mack was one of those names. Truthfully, I do. Just because, I mean, shit, we see what Dan Moore got. What is Josh Sweat going to get, right? We can't wait to watch this Milt Williams contract numbers come out, right? $18 million for a year or 2 with Mac really wouldn't have been that horrendous. So
sure.
I think that's something to be said. I think there's more moves to be made today. But I do agree. I think the long term, like, I guess we'll call it free agency week, because obviously everything's not going to happen just today. I could see a world where, outside of your depth third receiver, maybe, or those kind of moves, they are largely done. I think their biggest signing of the week is going to be an extension for Kyler Gordon. That might be like their real, like, ooh, wow, big earth-shattering move. keep one of your own, keep a guy that's clearly a huge piece of that defense and is probably only going to become a bigger piece, in my opinion, with a guy like
And it
Dennis
may
Howard.
not be the worst idea to do it now. We're seeing what the contract looks like now, and next year that market could go up even higher.
I almost wonder, how often do we see re-signings happen like free agent week though? Like I feel like usually they happen once camps start and like once
JC Horn got
OTAs
extended.
get started. Yeah, he did.
A lot of extensions
but that was before free
It's
agency.
true. It was before. There was a lot of extensions before, though, like Josh
Yeah.
Allen's extension. And
See, I feel like that's when they tend to happen, though, because that's when you're trying to create that space. And maybe, like, I don't think they go back to, like, right now, I think they are talking about free agents. And, like, once they get kind of past that is where they go back to, okay, let's talk about extensions again with some of our guys. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. That's just my read on it, or what I feel like I've seen in the past.
Agreed. That's a good point to, I think, keep in mind here as well. Is just going to be like, okay, is this something that they just decide to wait on? Or, like you said, and maybe do a little bit closer to camp and see how all the money shakes out.
I think by the end of today, maybe the next few days, they need a starting edge. Like, you cut DeMarcus Walker. Yeah. You do not have a starting caliber edge right now. As much as you might like Austin Booker, you do not have a starter there.
Agreed.
So, like, that's Josh Sweat, that's Malcolm Kuntz, that's Baron Browning, Dio Odeingbo.
Didn't Browning just go back? I think he went back.
Did he?
Yeah. I don't think Browning's on the market anymore either.
Okay.
Now it feels like it's like quiet, almost too quiet.
I think everyone's kind of stunned at the numbers.
I also think somebody's waiting to see what that Williams contract is.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of teams, I bet, that were like, yeah, hold on, we'll call you back in an hour. And they just, like, put the phone down, and they're just doing one of these in their seat right now. Just go, all right, let's wait and see what this dollar is.
They're Billy Bean smashing their desk, like
banging the phone. Great movie. Just saw clips of that the other day too. It makes me want to rewatch it.
Yeah.
This is almost like, I don't even know how to describe this. It's like sitting around. You're just like you're waiting for just more chaos.
Yeah,
like, there's not enough chaos. We need more.
Last year kind of felt like this too, though, didn't it?
Did.
Like,
at least
where we were expecting because prior to last year, I felt like it was like boom, boom, boom. Everything is getting knocked out really fast. And last year and this year, it seems like there's more of a slow burn.
Well, I think this year, though, it's also a very underwhelming free agency class, unless you're looking for a very specific position.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's a couple of really good there's a lot of good D tackles, especially with Grady Jarrett just getting released this morning by Atlanta. There's a lot of solid defensive ends. There's a lot of this is the year of the wide receiver. Like, if you needed a veteran wide receiver, like, this is the year to go get him. Obviously, Adams already off the market going to the Rams, which virtually says goodbye, Cooper Kupp. We'll miss you.
Yeah. But
I mean, every other position I think is a little thin. So I think teams are also a little. I think you got two versions of teams. You got the teams that knew they were coming into today being aggressive, and then the teams that were like, hey, we got one or two guys we really, really like, but if we can't get those guys, we're going to be a little more patient with how we handle free agency this year.
Yeah.
The Ringer gives a grade of B for the Drew Dahlman signing, for what it's worth.
I mean, that's about how I feel. Like,
yeah, I think that's fair.
Oh, that is a good point. Kevin, I'm gonna totally our boy Kevin Nagandi. I just actually have never seen his name spelled out. He says Milton Williams gets his dollars and doesn't go to the Cowboys, Commanders, 49ers, Vikings, Lions, Rams, Packers, Bucks. ... You get the point. That's a win for the Eagles. It's true.
Also confirmed. Ron and I have the same Blue Sky feed because that's number one on my feed as well.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I'm like frantically refreshing.
Yeah.
Like I get excited just seeing a new post come up.
Twitter's back.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Is it though?
I mean, I'm looking at it, so for whatever that's worth.
Yes, I was able to pull it up this time.
Oh yeah, it refreshed. See, I will say this when it comes to with X is just like my sicko level of reports is much larger. So now we can really get like down and dirty and kind of gross.
Yeah, like I'm just more prepared on there to like where my sources are, where I can find stuff, like what messages I'm paying attention to. Like it's all kind of there.
We are hashtag back, bitches. Oh boy.
And our X feed is now up as well for this show. So if you just joined us from X, welcome.
Hello.
Hope you've had a wonderful day without X so far, but we're back.
We are back, and we have been live for a hot
You're an hour 20 minutes into the show. Chicago Bears have signed Drew Dahlman.
Yes, they have. Yes.
And the market's just kind of on a pause right now.
Which
everyone's a little blown away by Javon Kinlaw and waiting to find out what these numbers are for Milton Williams.
Or maybe they were just waiting for Twitter to come back.
Maybe teams were just like, wait.
Could you imagine? Just everything
without knowing all the info.
Oh man, that would be crazy.
But I'm kind of shocked at the defensive tackle money because this is a like generationally strong defensive tackle class in the draft.
Yeah, it is really strong. And it's gonna be a group that's gonna get paid. I mean, I think everybody was waiting to see with the Williams thing because I think everybody knew he was kind of the guy that was probably going to set the market.
Yeah.
The Kinlaw one, I think that was just Washington being like, we have a player we like. We're just going to go get him and give him whatever money he wants and be done with it. Whereas in the case of like everybody wants to see what Williams gets, and I think that sets the bar then for the rest of this market.
And do we think the Bears are talking to the Bengals right now?
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Why
haven't the Bears done anything? Because they're trading for Trey Hendrickson.
How would you feel if the Bears gave 39 for Trey Hendrickson?
I'd cry.
That's a lot of money. But I mean,
the 39th pick. The 39th pick.
Yeah. Because then you probably have to turn around and pay him 30 a year.
No, I think it's even higher than that now. With these numbers that are coming out, 30 a year is what I was hearing yesterday.
And Garrett got 40.
Right. I was hearing 30 yesterday. These numbers is not 30. These numbers I'm watching now, you're talking upper 30s.
True.
Yeah. But what do we think the trade compensation looks like for him though? Because like having to pay him, that's a whole nother thing. But like, I don't know. At 39, I'm hesitant. I think Trey Hendrickson is awesome. He rules. He's also like 31.
He's 30.
Right. 30. Like, I don't know. I get heartburn about for the third time in 8 years trading for an edge rusher that you need to reset the market with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why do the Bears like doing that so much?
They love it.
It's almost like a sicko habit that they like can't help themselves with.
But like at the same time, the dude had 15 plus sacks each of the last 2 years, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's sick. I love that.
That's awesome. But then it's like,
I just don't know how long lived it continues to go, and then it's
Right.
like, how do you replace that? Do you need to replace it in a year and 2 years? Like it's not. We trade for Khalil Mack. He was what, 27? It was a different thing.
Yeah, that sounds about. Yeah, he was in the prime of his career. That's the big thing there. Oh, big news. Punter J.K. Scott going back to the Los Angeles Chargers. I know you guys are all
They got their guy.
Shattered about how crazy that is.
Former Green Bay Packer legend, J.K. Scott.
Jets have a good shot to land Justin Fields.
Adebo got 30 for 3 with the Giants.
Wait, who did?
Adebo.
Oh, okay. Paulson Adebo. I heard Debo, and I was like,
oh yeah, sorry, not Debo Samuel. Paulson Adebo. Yeah, so 3 by 30. So that seems to kind of be the going rate right now for a lot of these corners is pretty much like $10 million a year.
Which I don't think he was projected near that.
No. I don't think anybody was projected near that.
Which, I mean, honestly, I would. Okay, no, he was projected 3 years, 13 mil a year. So yeah, that's about.
Oh, okay. So he actually
coming in below.
Yeah, he actually came in under.
Which I think that's a good move. I like Adebo, and he's 25 years old. Like,
yeah, he is. That is the one nice thing for the Giants is like you're not signing a 32-year-old to a 3-year deal. You're signing a 25-year-old. I mean, that's the type of guy that can play really well for 3 years, and you just give him another contract at a bigger dollar value, and he's still going to probably perform to the contract.
Yeah.
I still can't get over the Javon Kinlaw contract, though.
I know. I'm blown away by that. I really am.
That contract literally like broke my brain.
And the Dan Moore.
Because not to the Dan Moore one too. Because not to reference the old Madden game again, but like I remember paying Javon Kinlaw in the Bears franchise like $7 million for one season.
Yeah.
So him getting over double that over 3 years is absolutely bonkers.
So the Milton Williams deal is close but not finalized.
Yeah, Diana Rossini just tweeted other teams around the league are showing strong interest in landing Williams still.
Trying to steal him from Carolina.
Get more specific, Deanna. Which teams?
Would the Bears happen to be one of them?
Right.
This is what I need to know. Could you imagine him on the inside of that line? Oh shit!
If I'm being honest, I'd rather pay Sweat than Williams.
Really?
Yeah, it's such a strong defensive tackle class. I don't know that I don't know that I think Williams is starting over Billings or Dexter. Like he's a good pass rusher. I have questions about him against the run, and like he's a good player. You're paying him great money, and in this D tackle class, I think I'd rather take rookies and build that defense that way. Where edge rusher, I'm gonna have a lot harder time finding an edge in the draft because you only get him in the first round.
Agreed. Interesting.
And also, I'm just in love with too many defensive tackles in this class to pay a defensive tackle.
I'm in love with everybody else. Other teams around the league are showing interest. Patriots probably are one of those teams, definitely. Man, oh man, oh man. It's getting good. It's getting good. I feel like we're all like sitting around a campfire.
Well, now we
Remember?
got 2 browsers to update, right? It's like Blue
I
Sky,
know.
nope, nothing. Twitter, nope,
Yep,
nothing.
Well,
that's
now all
literally
the
what I'm
tweets
doing.
are coming in, so I'm like, I'm quote tweeting your article about Drew Dahlman and like just trying to like catch up on everything.
I know. I feel that. I'm doing the same. We're just. I feel like we need some good campfire stories while we're waiting for like the next signing.
Like so,
Yeah.
so here's my thing with Williams that it just got mentioned in a group chat I'm in. He played 17 games in 4 playoff games and was still under 650 snaps this year. Like that's not a lot.
No, that's really
and
not.
I liked Milton Williams in the draft. He came out and the dude's an athletic specimen, but like I don't know if he's a rotational football player.
Morgan Moses getting 3-year deal for $24 million, worth up to 28.5 as a 34-year-old offensive tackle.
Again,
wonder what
I'm
the,
just so glad we got our situations taken care of before today.
He was drafted in 2014. Gotta
Worth
love
up
it.
to, so that's like what, $8 million a year?
Yeah, it's a base of $8 million a year, worth up to, math is hard, 9 some change a year.
I wonder what the guarantees on that look like, though. Like that's probably the like if it's like a 1-year guarantee, 2-year guarantee.
At least we got one Bears signing during the initial madness.
Yeah.
You guys know what's going to happen, though, right? The time's going to come for us to be done, at least for this stream, and then that's when the shit's going to happen.
Right.
That's what happened. Q. That was what happened when we did our show, and then Eberflus got fired.
Yeah.
We literally hit end stream, and then the report broke. And I looked at it, I was like, "Oh, son of a bitch! We just got done with this." It's exactly what's going to happen. It's the Bears on tap effect. I don't know what to say about it, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, so we've seen a few more come through here with the Morgan Moses, but like it's still
Tremont.
This seems like it's going to keep trickling pretty slow.
Yeah, DB Tremont Smith to a 2-year deal worth up to 7.5 with the Texans.
I can't say I know anything about him.
He's a core special teamer, so the deal makes him the highest paid core special teamer. So look at our boy Josh Blackwell out here resetting the market.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that?
So if we think through the Bears depth chart right now, the only spots I really feel like are missing stuff is probably running back, but I would think you're attacking that in the draft.
Agreed.
Edge rusher and defensive tackle, you attack one of those in the draft.
Agreed.
And maybe like a wide receiver 3, which we discussed some earlier, but like I think you can fill that with the lower rungs of free agency. Like outside of those spots, I feel like you're really sitting in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, you look at up and down this roster, your defense is pretty much in place. I think there's the chance for kind of an off the wall defensive move for the Bears. Maybe not for humongous money. It's a guy who kind of surprised everybody a little bit in terms of an addition. Maybe it's I'll call it a Dennis Allen, like the garlic powder sprinkle on this defense type thing.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I agree. I mean, you look largely around the team and everything's set and in order. It's going to be Rome and DJ on the offensive side. Swift is largely here until otherwise noted. I agree with you that I think running back is being attacked by them in the draft. Probably more so. I hope it's in the second round, but I tend to think it's probably going to be maybe in the third round, just with the amount of depth that's in this running back class this year?
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the chance that they could go Ashton Genty at 10.
There's a chance they could go Marion Hampton at 10.
It's true.
I mean, I don't think they will, but like, I mean, I expect them to have a running back by pick 41. Even if that's pick 41, like I expect them to take one within those first 3 picks somewhere. I think it might. I mean, after watching a bunch of Quinshon Judkins this week, I think it might be Quinshon Judkins, because I think he fits some of the running style that they probably want. His zone vision is really pretty clean, I thought, but really, I think you need, because Swift is probably going to be your pass down back. So I don't think they're as concerned about a guy being able to be that 3 down guy for whoever they add right away.
You're saying they don't need my favorite running back in this draft? Is that what I'm hearing too?
Man, I see so many traits with Travion to like, but
I love him.
He rushes the hole constantly with a really good O-line, so I think it gets masked a lot, but like I just want better patience from him over and over and over, and a guy his size who runs as downhill as he does scares me.
See, that's interesting because like when I watch his tape, I see, I think, more patience than people realize.
Yeah.
Because if you also kind of watch how Judkins kind of runs the same way. Like he'll wait for the hole, but he also attacks the hole quickly. And Judkins, the one difference to me is Henderson, I've noticed, has better ability to see the cutback lanes. Judkins wants contact, which I don't hate. Love a guy that likes to get physical, but he'll put his head down a lot and won't see the cutback lane.
Well, so
He'll
let me
just
ask
get what
you
he can
this,
get.
because I found this really interesting with Judkins. He was a different player in the playoffs.
Yes.
Like, because when I watched the regular season games, I saw what you're saying. But when I watched the playoffs, I saw a much more patient runner who really took his time reading his lanes and then finding the right time to burst. And it was like, okay, I got really excited watching his playoff games. I watched his regular season games first and was actually pretty low on him. And then I saw that and I was like, that's in there. Now I'm really interested. And with Travion, I just felt like everything was one speed all the time. And the tempo behind the line of scrimmage really scared me with him.
I will say with Henderson, his tempo tends to be the same.
Yeah.
Pretty much at all times. Judkins is by far the more explosive back of the two. In my opinion, Henderson's the more complete back of the two.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, but again, that's where I agree with you though, Q, where there's going to be a lot of teams that look at Henderson if they don't already have somebody that's good in the pass game, and they'll say, we like that guy. Versus a team like the Bears where you have DeAndre Swift who can largely be your, passing down back. Then you can go out and get Judkins to be more of just kind of your bulldozer that runs between the tackles on first and second down. The only thing I think that scares me with having DeAndre Swift and Judkins as your two guys is if you're asking either one of them to pass block.
Yeah.
Judkins was never asked to pass block at Ohio State. That's the one thing that everybody was like, he should be fine. He can pass block. I'm like, did you ever see him on film pass block?
I need to watch some of his Ole Miss tape, honestly, because
I said the same thing to myself. I was like, I need to go back and watch his 2023 Ole Miss tape before I fully discredit or credit anything. Because now that being said, I did watch him get absolutely steamrolled by somebody when he was at Ole Miss. So whereas Travion Henderson's out there putting Mason Graham on his ass in pass protection.
Travion Henderson is probably the best pass protecting back I've seen coming out of college. It is incredible.
Maybe that's why I like him so much, because the O-line sicko in me loves a running back that can block. And he's just you got the video from me, Q, that I sent you the one day with the sound effects and everything of screaming in my house in excitement watching him blow people up in pass protection.
Yeah. He's incredible in the pass pro. And like
Yeah,
he's
he really
very
is.
versatile. I think his floor is extremely high.
Mhm.
I just don't, unless he learns to run a different way, I'm just really worried about his sustainability in the league because Judkins doesn't run more physically than Henderson. Judkins makes he takes your angle away so you can't get a clean hit on him. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Henderson tries to run through you. He tries to square you up and run through you, and he's just not big enough to do it consistently. And he runs like Roshan Johnson runs, but way faster.
Yes.
Which you'd think would be really good, but he just doesn't have the size to plow guys like that.
Right. I
The
agree.
Lions are signing cornerback DJ Reed to 3 years, $48 million.
Just saw that. I didn't see the
Honestly,
dollar amount though. That's an interesting. That's a crazy dollar amount.
I think that's a really good deal for the Lions.
Oh, it
DJ
is.
Reed is a baller.
I mean, you replace Carlton Davis with DJ Reed. I mean, that's an upgrade in my opinion. Not that Carlton Davis is a bad corner. Just to me, that's an upgrade.
Yeah. Reliability, like just be a guy who can be on the field consistently, because that's always been Carlton Davis's issue, or at least in Detroit was last year.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean,
Do we do Isaiah Rodgers to the Vikings, 2 years, $15 million?
It's interesting. I don't know much about Isaiah Rodgers. I mean, I
saw that one too.
I can't say I feel any real way about that other than like Brian Flores knows what Brian Flores wants.
Quickly going just momentarily back to Williams, since I know we're all fascinated waiting on that number. Still don't have it yet. But the report is it's going to be greater than 20 million a year.
It's a lot.
And Scott from Iowa, who wants to see Will Campbell at 10, Landon Jackson at 39, and Caleb Johnson at 41. Q, I got a question for you about Will Campbell.
Yeah.
While we're on here and we're talking, because obviously the Bears have transformed their interior line. That's a lot of what we've discussed today. I've seen a few people sour on Will Campbell. Are you souring on Will Campbell?
I've been sour on Will Campbell from day one.
Okay.
Like I think that he is the best offensive lineman in the class.
But that speaks more to what how weak the class is then.
I think, or I take it back. I think he's the best offensive tackle in the class.
Yes.
I think Josh Simmons is the tackle I would bet on. But his injury scares me, and I just don't have enough tape to make that strong a statement. Because he played, like he got injured, missed a bunch of time this year. When he was healthy, he looked incredible.
Yeah.
His film session with Brandon Thorne was out of this world. Good. Like, that guy, I think the Bears are going to fall in love with him when they talk to him. Or maybe they already have. But it's all about the injury for him. But Will Campbell, he's a risk. He is an inherent risk because of his short arms.
Yep.
And I think he can survive at guard and be a solid guard, but he wins in space with movement ability. And that is not a guard in my mind. That is a tackle. I think he's probably like a Braden Smith. I think he's going to be pretty good, but I think he's always going to have an Achilles heel when he goes up against a guy like Montez Sweat or Trayvon Walker, who have these freakish long arms and have incredible power with speed. Like, I don't know how he survives against that very well, which is Braden Smith's issue, right? Trayvon, I want to say half the sacks that Braden Smith gave up this year were against Trayvon Walker and Montez Sweat. There's just an Achilles heel to that game, which if I'm drafting a tackle top 10, I want no clear physical Achilles heels. Right. So that's where I'm kind of sour on Will Campbell, and I don't love Campbell for the Bears. I won't be upset about Campbell because I think he's a gritty football player. I think he plays the game the right way and has incredible football character, and those guys tend to figure it out on the offensive line. But I just don't think his ceiling is as high as it's been made out to be.
I agree. I've gotten to watch a little bit more of his film, and it's good film, but I'm not blown away by it.
Yeah. Well, and everyone loves pass blocking. Everyone falls in love with pass blocking, but run blocking matters more to me than pass blocking.
I agree.
Like it's not that the run game is more important than the pass game, but it's like you can build off the run game into the pass game in so many ways that if you need to be a run heavy team, you can't take good pass blockers and do the same. Like run blocking is kind of thing you got it or you don't. It feels like.
Well, and look at how the Bears are building right now. I mean, Darnell Wright, we know, is an elite run blocker, but he's a good pass blocker. He does everything goofy, as we always talked about on the shows. But
I mean,
like, why
he's
fun to watch?
Pass protection's better than his run blocking, but his run blocking can be so impactful in moments that
just because he's such a mauler, right? Because he's just that MFer in the game, but then look at like Jonah Jackson, mauler, Joe Thuney, really good run blocker. Dahlman, a far better run blocker than he is a pass blocker. Like the Bears O-line is being built to be a run-heavy team. And if that's what they like, that's what makes me think Will Campbell's not an option. I would almost argue rather that, and I don't think it's Landon Jackson. I think it's Donovan Jackson is what.
No, Landon Jackson's
or
the rusher out of Arkansas.
The edge. Got it. I would argue the other Jackson, Donovan Jackson, maybe would be a better fit for the Bears because I think he's a really good run blocker. And also, like Q, I know you've said it before too. He's got that ability to kind of be a swing guy where he can be guard and tackle. And I think he would be okay at tackle in the NFL. I think he's a better guard, but I think he'd be okay at tackle. I'd almost rather them get him at 39 and maybe take a swing on an edge rusher at 10 and then get your running back at 41.
Yeah. Like if you tell me it's Michael Williams, Donovan Jackson at the first two picks, I'd be pretty happy with that.
According to CBS's Jonathan Jones, Drew Dahlman turned down more money from other teams.
Really? Interesting.
My fellow meatheads are going to love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bears are back.
Yeah, baby. The Bears are back.
Back, baby.
You know what the best part about that is I was talking to my fiance before she went to work this morning, and I was like, "Oh, it's that time of the year." And she goes, "What do you mean?" And I go, March. Games aren't going to be played for another 6 months, but Bears fans have already said the Bears are back, and like that's just another notch in that belt. And it's the best thing. It's the best part of the offseason because it's just everybody's so hyped. Everybody wants to see their team get better, and like it's hard not to be excited about that as well. But like now adding that in there, oh baby, he wanted to be a Bear. Like he wanted to come to Chicago so bad. Oh man. Absolutely.
Well, I wonder who the other team's offering more money works. There was a lot of speculation about the 49ers, and he's a Stanford guy, and his dad played with John Lynch, I think. So like there's something like that. Like so I'm curious if the 49ers were one of those teams and he just thought the situation in Chicago made more sense or not.
Maybe. Well, I wonder too. I'm sure Atlanta was obviously very involved. I wonder if they offered him more money. Wouldn't that be bonkers? How much money they've invested in that offensive line?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they really offered him that much because like they've just put so much cash into that O-line already.
Yeah, they really have tons of cash in there. But I'm just trying to like kind of mull through I'm sure the Patriots were involved.
Yeah, I know the Patriots. Yeah, I think the Patriots were a team that were expected to be very involved for him.
Excuse me. And then I'm trying to think who else.
See, I like to convince myself the Packers were all in on him. The Bears beat the Packers. This guy, he turned down the Packers. He turned down the Chiefs.
They might have been.
All these guys because he wanted to be a Bear. He knows where the future lies.
Sonny, I'm with you. The Packers were in on Drew Dahlman. They need a center. They really need a center.
They do need a center, actually. Like, that's no bullshit. That I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something here. And again, like you said, it just makes everybody feel good about it.
And no one has confirmed to me that the Packers weren't in it. So until that happens, I'm going to say that Dahlman picked the Bears less money than the Packers.
Here's a great quote or a great post from Kevin Fishbane. Since Roberto Garza retired, the only centers the Bears had signed in free agency were to 1-year contracts. Coleman Shelton for $3 million, Ted Larson for $1.02 million, Ted Larson for $1.65 million, Will Montgomery for $950,000, and Brian De La Puente for $795,000. up against Drew Dahlman's 3-year, $42 million deal. This is the first investment the Bears have made at center, true investment since Roberto Garza was there. And I mean, you could say like they spent a 3rd-round pick on that kid out of Oregon under Ryan Pace, but like that was it. That was the only real center.
Cronus Grisu.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you could throw James Daniels in there, I guess, because he was a center, but like
True, but obviously ended up playing guard.
Yeah.
Darren Jeremiah is stirring up the frickin' pot right now for Bears fans. Says if the Bears take Tyler Warren, they would have a dominant 12 personnel offense. That would be physical and fun.
I'm curious on your guys, because I saw Tyler Warren his entire college career, obviously covering the Illini. I'm curious on your guys' like scouting report on him.
That dude is 6'6", 260 and runs like he's not 260.
Yeah, he's kind of a freak, and he just unfortunately it was the case of just they were so deep at tight end. That's why he didn't play a lot until really this past season.
Speaking of tight end, happy birthday, Cole Kmet.
Happy birthday, Cole Kmet. Happy birthday, Cole Kmet.
If they draft Tyler Warren, I wonder if Cole Kmet's getting the TJ Hawkinson treatment.
Oh, and getting dangled out to teams in trade. Honestly, dude, it could happen because what's he making? 11.5 a year to like not get utilized in the offense?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, clearly that Tyler Warren is going to, like, I don't think year 1 of Tyler Warren you do that, but like going into year 2 of Tyler Warren, like the idea is he becomes the tight end on the roster. Like you have a backup who serves a purpose, but one of them needs to be the blocker in this offense. And it's not going to be the guy you just spent the number 10 pick on.
Yeah, definitely. Super duper side note here. The Chiefs have agreed to sign Elijah Mitchell. So they crowd that running back room a little bit more.
With a zone runner.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Because they were much more of a gap running team until they put Joe Thuney at tackle. Because then they couldn't run gap as much.
Yep. Because you didn't have the guy that could do it.
Yeah. Didn't have someone who could just move people off the edge.
All right. We're back to another slight standstill.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy's been the big like question at running back at 10, but I really think they might like Omari and Hampton a lot.
This is me to the NFL right now. Do something. I can see that.
I almost wonder if there's any other guys out there like Jackson who, like now with us seeing. Oh wait, did I hear an uh-oh?
Yeah, I think X just went down again.
Oh, well, you know,
guys, fun while it lasted, guys.
Back to Blue Sky.
Guys who might have a big cap number, who now all of a sudden, you know, we're seeing some of the price tags of these guys going in free agency. But Ben Johnson's familiar working with them from a previous stint, and they may decide to, you know, hey, so what's the asking price for a guy like this, just to kind of see where the better value is, whether it is overpaying free agency or maybe taking a low risk move on a guy that Ben's kind of worked with before, who may have a higher cap number, who the team's willing to give up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in the O-line, you're probably past that because you feel like you have your 5 starters now and you're really just looking for a depth piece. And at receiver, I don't think they're going to value anything high enough to actually trade a pick for.
Yeah.
So then you're talking defense really at that point, and it could be interesting. I mean, this regime has really liked that strategy. I mean, you look at the Keenan Allen, you look at Montez Sweat, you look at Joe Thuney. Like they've kind of gone after that strategy of like, well, we'll trade draft capital for some of these guys, especially like the Joe Thuney one. You're looking at the contract value versus what you're talking in free agency made a lot of sense. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't have any names in mind though that there are any names that pop out outside of like a Trey Hendrickson who needs a new deal anyway. So you're basically paying free agent contract regardless.
And
I just
giving
wonder
up
if that's
something.
why, that's why things may have quieted down, league wide. Like, okay, well, let's
Yeah.
see what some of the other options are right now.
I could see a world though, based on some of the dollar values that we've seen come out in some of these early contracts. If there are teams that are like, hey, before we go spend big money on so and so, let's go kick the tires and see if we can trade for so and so or so and so. Again, you have to wonder if Ryan Pohl, if the front office was like, hey, we completely understand that like next week's gonna get expensive. Rather than going and spending money, we're just gonna go get guys that we like kind of know and kind of want.
Yeah.
Because I mean, giving up a 6th this year and a 4 next year is not earth shattering.
Well, and from the familiarity aspect, can't be understated. Dennis Allen drafted Trey Hendrickson.
That's
That
true.
was his third round pick gem who turned into a star edge rusher.
Yeah. Man, oh man. Refreshing frantically.
Is that on the X or on the blue ski?
On the both.
Yeah, X is just a spinning circle right now.
Yeah. Just
so we're back to the blue ski.
We're back on something that can get us information. That's essentially where we're at right now. What the fuck do you think?
And if you're on Blue Sky, make sure you go follow each of us. We're on there. Just search our names. And On Tap Sportsnet is on there as well. So we find all our articles there on Blue Sky. So make sure you check that out.
Hell yeah. Doing
where do you guys think they go first round with where the O-line's sitting now?
That's a good question. I
just like that that's a question, right?
Yeah.
Like we're getting closer and closer to just taking best player available. And that's always my favorite draft strategy, because of all the holes that we've kind of filled. It's not like, oh, well, we have to look for an interior lineman. We have to look for this or that. We're not quite there yet, as you guys mentioned, but we're getting closer and closer to just be like, it doesn't matter. We'll see. We'll see what the first 9 picks are. And then at number 10, who do we like best at number 10? Just take that guy. So, I mean, I'm glad that we're having this conversation as opposed to who do we need to take.
Yeah, it is kind of refreshing when you really, really consider it when, you're I really, what? The hell with, I think we're getting close. I think the Bears are there. Sonny, I really do. Like, I think it is BPA at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
especially because I think the positions they're going to want to target in the draft are deep enough where if you don't necessarily get the guy at 10, you can get a guy at 39.
See, I'll push back on that a little. I think edge, I'm still sitting there going, you need an edge.
Oh, sure.
You just need an edge rusher.
I think it depends, right? I guess, yeah, as of now, I think edge is the glaring need, but like hypothetically speaking, if Josh Sweat signs, now all of a sudden, I think you are at that point in full-blown BPA territory.
Yeah.
Like, there is no, they should take this guy or should take this guy. They're just going to say, hey, fuck it, we're going to take whoever we like at that pick. And you're going to like it too. Yeah, it's crazy though, man. I mean, it really is. Like, and again, it's kind of nice just seeing them like check off the laundry list is really what it is right now. It's like, oh, we needed a center. Got that. Oh, we needed 2 more guards. Got that. Who's next up? We need this guy too. Yep. Got that.
Yeah. He's like, I agree. Like, I think you can get a D tackle and a guard anywhere on the first 2 days of the draft. Like, so you're not like a pressing need to take one somewhere. It's just that edge spot where it's like, if you don't sign someone, 10, I feel like it's got to be. Like you don't really have a choice because that guy's going to be essentially your starter.
Yeah. Definitely.
Which makes the DeMarcus Walker like release it just feels so weird to me.
Didn't understand that one at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't
I mean,
a big number. It'd just be one less thing that you really have to like. We're sitting here right now, like, yeah, we need to find another edge. Had that not happened, we're like, okay, it'd be nice to upgrade, but it's not. It's not a dire type of situation. So yeah, I'm with you, Q.
Yeah. But what do you think, Ron? You want to keep hanging around for a little longer, see what happens, or we want to wrap this thing up?
I do know we have some schedules that we need to respect here. I am happy to hang around if we need to shuffle our panel here a little bit for at least a little while longer, because I just know my gut tells me something's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Sonny, we'll let you jump off if you need to, but we'll probably hang around for maybe another like 30 minutes here, and then I got to jump a little before 2 myself, but we're good to roll for a little longer here.
Sounds good. And if there is breaking news, I will jump right back on. I just have to go tend to other things in the short term.
Oh, you mean you have things to do during the day?
Unfortunately, a 4-year-old requires a lot of things to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you later, Sonny.
All right, gentlemen.
I'll see you soon, sir.
All right. And Ron, can I interest you in a quick intermission / bathroom break?
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Then I'm going to jump off. If you want to stay on screen, feel free.
Yeah, I'll sit here and I'll babble for 5 minutes. I don't know about what, but I'm going to babble.
I literally jumped off an airplane, took an Uber home, and pretty much jumped on here. And I'm like, man, I need to eat something. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Feel that. No, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, we're just sitting here and we're waiting, man. To everybody that has been tuning on with us on X, if you're still watching us on X, thanks. Things have been kind of down, unfortunately, over on the X app for most of the day. We are checking all of our stuff over on Blue Sky right now. Obviously, keeping up with the ESPN feed as well has been super duper duper helpful. So if you want to watch along with us, that's kind of where we're at this point in time. Really feels like everything's kind of gone quiet. Tom G with a comment here. It says, filling the 3 greatest needs in the trenches with 3 of the best options, and all the Bears gave up was a 4th and a 6th. They are truly the offseason champs, not even hyperbole. I will say this when it comes to the offensive line and how quickly they upgraded it. This is very abnormal. Like, it's hard to turn around an offensive line the way that the Bears have this offseason with the amount of quality that they have this offseason. Because if you really think about it, and we can break them down in order here, right? They gave up the 6th round pick for Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson has come out and said it publicly. There was a lot of additional reports that kind of supplement what he has said, that just it wasn't a good fit with the Rams. So you took advantage of a player in a team, just understanding that the fit wasn't right and it was a bad situation for both sides. And you know, it was such a front-loaded contract in LA that the Bears get him for a respectable number. It's still a high number, but not an absurd number, as we've seen already on the free agency, really on the wire so far over the course of just the first 2 hours here. In addition to that, then you turn around and say, well, Kansas City, we know you want to keep Trey Smith. You took him from us even being able to go get him in free agency, as Ryan Poles is probably saying. And he probably turns around and goes, hey, Thuney's going to free up money for you guys. And, you know, we know you want to keep the younger Trey Smith. Why don't you give us the older Joe Thuney? And it works out great. And a 4th round pick is fine. Again, I think the Bears have no problem parting ways with draft picks, especially anything after the 3rd round. They did a nice job there. And then in addition to that, today with Dahlman, it's not a 4 or 5 year deal. It's a 3-year deal, 28 guaranteed. Really, it's going to come down to, it could be effectively a 2-year deal if things don't work out, and you can cut him then before that 3rd year and probably save a little bit on the cap. So I think overall, I tend to agree, Tom. I think the way they filled the trenches in that interior offensive line, going from Jenkins, a combination of Pryor and Davis and Shelton to Thuney, Jackson, Dahlman, and probably some either draft pick or a depth lineman, that's a huge turnaround for the Bears. And they accomplished something that you don't see very often. It's hard to fix a position group that quickly as the Bears have here over the course of this free agency period so far, and really leading into it as well, obviously, with the 2 trades for Jackson and Thuney. Nothing has come through yet, but if you are tuning in with us here and you're still able to watch us, whether you're watching along with us on X somehow, some way, magically, X is back. So if you're back with us on X, hey, we appreciate you. Hey, Q, X is back.
Woo! Again.
We'll see how long that lasts, though, because it's been hellish. Oh, hey, there's rumors and reports that the Rams are closing in on adding Coleman Shelton.
I get it. I mean, hey, I honestly, no, I don't. I'm not sure I do get it because I'm not sure he's much different than Bo Limmer.
I don't think he's much different than Bo Limmer either, but I think that's why they're signing him, because he's going to be the backup. And he's familiar with McVay, having obviously played there before last season with the Bears.
Yeah. I mean, hey, and you plop him down between Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson, like, he's fine. He's not good, but he's fine. Like, it's almost a similar thing with it's one of the things that concerns me a little with Dahlman is that he was playing between 2 behemoth monsters in Atlanta. And Ron, like, right, when you're talking pass pro at the center spot, there, and you're the undersized guys, not as wide, not as long, just have a harder time getting control of it. There is a very simple aspect to it of just get the widest motherfuckers you can find and put them on each side of him. Right? Like with Coleman Shelton, when he had Tevin Jenkins on the left and Matt Pryor on the right, it was just hard to get around those guys. And as long as they could be tight in with Shelton, you're going to have a hard time getting through them. But when you had smaller guys in there next to him who weren't as wide, I don't want to say big, but wide. It's the width of the field, right? You are eating up width on the field for the defense to utilize. Like, when you have more narrow guys in there, it's going to make it easier to find those edges on the undersized guy. I think Joe Thuney should be fine. He's an all-pro, but Joe Thuney isn't that super wide guy. Jonah Jackson is. Like, so I'm interested to see how that works out with Dahlman, because I do think his technique is going to become really important next to Thuney.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it does feel like a very similar situation to what it was last year, just an improved version of it. It is really what the Bears are working with. Tom following up a comment here. He says, read something about the Saints investing heavily in the interior O-line for Drew Brees back in the day, because interior O-line was the most important thing for short quarterbacks, which would fit Caleb Williams. He thinks Caleb can break out this season. I think Caleb was going to be able to break out this season regardless, especially with a better coach in mind. But that certainly helps, right? Because when pressure comes up the middle, that's when short quarterbacks typically panic. I think the difference between Caleb Williams and Drew Brees is the fact that Caleb Williams is the greased up naked deaf guy, where Drew Brees was not that. So I saw a stat, Q. I don't know if you saw this stat, that sacks avoided, the second most sacks avoided in the league was Lamar Jackson with like 28. Caleb Williams led the league with 50 avoided sacks this season because of just his escapability, which is absolutely insane when you think about it.
The dude's pure magic in the pocket. And excuse me for eating on the air. I needed it to get a bite of something. But
what are you consuming? I mean, you got to at least rope us into what's being eaten on the air.
Well, this is not a paid product placement. If Bobo's would like to sponsor our podcast, it's a Bobo's essentially Uncrustable. It's just like oat and like peanut butter oats with jelly in the middle.
Ooh,
they're delicious. I wish they were a little bigger, because I've been like craving Uncrustables lately, and they're all I want. But like,
I've actually never heard of Bobo's, so now I'm like super intrigued. I'm gonna have to get some Bobo's. Q, I have been.
I'm a big fan
just-
of Bobos. They have a bunch of different products. They're all delicious.
I'll have to check that out. This is from ESPN. Ben Slowick, their NFL analyst. This is just a part of the ESPN tracker. I think it's just interesting. Favorite move of the day: the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a big hometown discount on Chris Godwin, who could have made substantially more money in an ever-expanding wide receiver market had he left town. Instead, Godwin signs for $66 million over 3 years, a bargain for a player who was on pace to lead the league in receptions before his injury last season. With Godwin and guard Ben Bredson back in the fold, the Buccaneers return every single starter on offense. There's a bit of a riddle to solve in target distributions, as rookie wide receiver Jalen McMillan emerged in Godwin's absence, but that's a great problem to have. New offense coordinator Josh Gizzard can step into Liam Cohen's vacant shoes. Expect the Bucs to once again field a top 10 offense in the 2025 season.
Interesting. And X is back down, I think.
Is it? Yeah, it might be. It's spending. It's been on it. It's been hit and miss. It's been hit and miss. It'll just be that way today. What are you gonna do? That's okay. I'm flipping between all of them. It's kind of fun going to 19 different places to get your information.
Yeah.
I wonder what what I think is the holdup, Q? I think it's the fact that Williams hasn't signed yet.
Yeah.
I bet you there's a lot of because that is such like it's close, and then a bunch of teams jumped in. Everybody's focus is probably on one player.
Yeah.
So everybody else is just kind of, waiting and sitting in the wings here. Devo Sam, Ryan Poles has not signed anyone in 1 hour since getting Dahlman. He's going crazy and needs that second dopamine hit. I feel that wholeheartedly. And we've got a report Patriots are stealing Milton for $26 million a season. I don't know if that's confirmed. I'm going to double check.
I haven't seen that anywhere yet, but wild if true.
Yes.
Yep.
Patriots have agreed to terms with ex-Eagle Milton Williams. Wow, they snuck in and stole him from the Panthers. Yeah, Williams gets $26 million per season.
Wow. That's hefty.
Holy shit.
I'm glad the Bears aren't paying him $26 million. Let me just
I am also glad the Bears aren't paying him $26 million. That's a lot of money. Dude.
And Sweat going back to the Eagles, maybe?
Maybe. That's very possible. I mean, they're gonna have the money. But who is it that they locked up? That they said with Bond, he was the last guy they were worried about bringing back. They said there wasn't a lot of.
I'd be surprised if they were paying Sweat.
He said, or is he going to the Patriots? No, it's Milton Williams is.
Oh yeah, that was Milton Williams. That was
Milton Williams is going to the Patriots. Eagles defensive tackle. No, the end. Josh Sweat is still very much available and on the free agent market. Yeah, $26 million per year.
That's rich. That's rich.
Very,
very rich.
And somebody says here, so much for the idea that Mason Graham would be the number 4 pick. Q, would you take Mason Graham if he slips to the Bears at 10?
100%. Mason Graham would be about the top. Like the only player I would truly put ahead of Mason Graham on my board is Abdul Carter.
Okay. I agree. I know a lot of people are like, he's small. He came in at under 300 pounds. I'm like, have you watched his tape? He throws around guys that weigh like 40 pounds more than him.
I'm not worried about his size. He came in under 300 pounds for combine reasons, I think. And then
he can beef back up.
He didn't test, I don't think, but I believe it was all like combine. Like I think I don't know if he tweaked something and didn't test because of that, but I think that's what happened. It was something like that.
Jay Betts, Jordan Lewis did sign. He signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars for 3 years, $30 million.
Yes, sir.
That one is done. That was a little bit earlier, not too much earlier, but a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think Mason Graham was gonna do some testing and then tweak something and didn't end up doing any of it except for bench press. Gotcha. But I think that he was a low for the 40 time. Like he's a 300 pounder. Like I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I agree. Diana Rossini reporting that the Panthers were close on the deal. The Cardinals were lurking for Williams. And then ultimately New England snuck in and got him. Milton Williams in a healthy, quote, hopefully, Christian Barmore is definitely that's a nasty interior. I agree with you though, Q. I mean, yeah, Williams is great on the interior, but like, there's a very clear reason the Eagles weren't willing to pay him. I mean, they have how many great D tackles? Like, they're just going to draft another one and do the exact same bullshit that they do every single cycle.
Yeah, let them be middling for 3 years, and in the fourth year they break out and then leave. Funny story here. Jay in the comments saying Michigan defensive linemen terrify him. Jay is a Cowboys fan. And Jay, I don't know, was it maybe like 2018? The Cowboys took Taco Charlton out of Michigan. And I didn't watch any tape back then. I wasn't a draft house, but I said to Jay, yeah, Taco's awesome. Mostly based on the fact that his name was Taco.
Facts. Awesome name. Absolutely fantastic name.
My first year doing draft analysis, and I still stand on this. I loved Mozzie Smith's tape. I loved everything I saw about Mozzie Smith. I said to Jay, Cowboys need Mozzie Smith.
Ooh.
Cowboys take Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith has sucked. I don't care. I loved his college tape, and I will stand on that one. But so Jay probably doesn't want another Michigan defensive lineman near the Cowboys, or he's actually maybe a Bills fan now. The Cowboys have kind of destroyed him mentally, but
understood.
So doesn't want a Michigan defensive lineman anywhere near the Buffalo Bills.
You want to talk about big money being thrown around? Tom Pelissero reporting. X is back, by the way. The Panthers are signing former Raiders safety Trevon Moehrig to a 3-year, $51 million contract worth up to $60 million with incentives.
I mean, that's a ton, but Moehrig's a good player. Like, yeah. I'm not going to say that that's a good deal for them because he's not like super proven through it, but like Moehrig's a good football player.
Yeah. Big deal. Big get for their I mean, Panthers really loading up that defense.
So what is Javon Holland going to get if that's what Moehrig's getting?
That's a phenomenal question. Which is interesting. I will say this. Panthers were the like quote unquote hot team that was going to be in on Holland. Them pivoting to Moehrig makes me think that Holland's price is crazy. Because 51 over 3 comes down to what? Like
Holland's probably
$15 million a year? Roughly?
Holland is the best free agent in the market.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to get what, 20, 22 at least per season?
Yeah, he's projected 20.5. So is that going to be 25? Like,
it feels that way. Tom G saying the Lions lost Carlton Davis to the Patriots. Good news for the Bears. Yeah, but they replaced him with DJ Reed, who I would argue is a far better corner. So I don't know if it's truly that much better for them. Jay says here, the Cowboys re-signed their long snapper for the second offseason in a row. Jerry's getting wild in free agency. Sure is. Jay, you missed it a little bit earlier. There was a joke about sitting out free agency, and the common denominator was Jerry Jones and Twitter. It was quite it was a funny little dig. I gotta buy these. I gotta spend money today. Son of a bitch.
Those are the worst days.
Who is this guy? Defensive. This might be the name of the century. Q. Defensive lineman Poona Ford and the Rams have agreed on a 3-year deal, just under $30 million with 17 guaranteed.
You didn't know who Poona Ford was?
No.
Oh, it's a great name. Great name.
Electric
Ford,
name.
He's like a 3 tech. He was with Seattle for years.
Okay, yeah, he was with the Chargers last year.
Mm-hmm.
He had
a like great year last year.
Yeah. I didn't know about him much because I feel like I've heard the name, but I know like he really jumped onto the scene this past year.
He was always more hype than production until this past year, but like he's really athletic.
That's a fantastic name, though.
Poona
Ford. What a guy. He just looks like he's such a lineman G too. I might just have to become a loved fan of his just because I can. Like it feels right.
I'm always pulling for Poona just because his name is awesome.
Because his name is Poona. It's so cool. Poona Ford. Electric.
It's a great
Absolutely.
defensive tackle name, specifically. Like, not just football name. That's a defensive tackle name. Like,
That is,
really
yeah,
good.
Puna Ford. Yeah, hey, Jay, Trent C getting a 3-year, $4.45 million deal with 3.1 million guaranteed. The Cowboys are going all out.
Damn, the Bears need a long snapper.
That's true. The Bears do need a long snapper. That's not even like a joke either. That's a legitimate
So
thing.
Tom said that DJ Reed's only 5'9". He's not too concerned about him. DJ Reed's a nickel. Nickels can be that small. Like,
Nickels can be
he's
that
one of
small.
the best nickels in the league. Actually, is he a nickel? I think he's a nickel.
I think he plays on the outside a lot.
Does he? Either way, he's good, man. Like,
Yeah, he is. He's a stud.
DJ Reed he's a baller.
Like DJ Reed, people don't appreciate DJ Reed because he played opposite of Sauce Gardner, but DJ Reed is very, very good.
He was with he goes back to like Legion of Boom days, like the late Legion of Boom. He was like one of the outside corners there, I think. But yeah, I think I got that mistake. I think he is an outside guy. I just saw the height and was like, that's got to be a nickel for how good he is. And then I was like, well, actually, I don't know. He plays some slot. He plays some slot, but not a ton. I wonder if they will put him in the slot more there though, because they kind of had a hole there last year.
Yeah, it could happen. I feel like they use Brian Branch in that role a lot though.
On and off, but so last year they distinctly tried to make Branch not a nickel because the year before in the playoffs, the 49ers used it against them that he was a nickel, and they kept forcing them into heavier personnel.
Yeah. A fun stat here for you, Q, from a mutual friend of ours, Jacob Infante. Bijan Robinson averaged 4.99 yards per carry rushing up the A gap in 24 with Dahlman leading the way. Now, when Bijan ran up the A gap on Dahlman's right side, he had more success running there than any other gap. Big win for the Bears, especially in the run game.
Yeah, the right side comment is probably more of a Chris Lindstrom nod than than anything. But because Chris Lindstrom's like arguably the best guard in the NFL. He's
1,000%.
Like,
yeah. No, he is that dude at guard. So I completely agree with you there. Now some shit's starting to happen. This is good.
Yeah,
I really do think that Williams thing held up the market for a hot minute.
So do I.
Because I think a lot of teams tried to jump in there. Ooh, we have a quarterback signing. The Jaguars have agreed to terms with quarterback Nick Mullins on a 2-year, $6.5 million deal with $3 million guaranteed. So he's going to come in to back up Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Also, Chicago Bears legend Larry Ogunjobi has been released by the Steelers. He was a Bear for like 2 days, if that.
Long live the king.
Long live King Ogunjobi. Lasted as a Bear for like 48 hours and then failed his physical and got his contract terminated.
That was Ryan Pohl's first big signing.
Sure was. And it was like right after oh, that's awesome. Seeing somebody here saying Poles can get his guy again with the Ogunjobi thing, I was like, I think they should do it just for the vibes.
I wanna believe that was Fluz's guy.
Ogunjobi, I believe it. I believe it.
That's what I'm choosing to believe, that was Eberflus's guy.
Sonny says the market was waiting for me to get off. Waiting. Things are starting to move. Still not like super duper, but they're starting to move.
Yeah.
Things are beginning to happen. Things are beginning to happen. And we can smile and wave about it anymore. Oh, yeah, here we go. Former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold has reached a 3-year, $110.5 million contract, 55 guarantee with the Seattle Seahawks.
They got their guy.
Darnold's going to the Pacific Northwest. What did I tell you? He was going to get Baker money, maybe a little more. 110.5 over 3 years.
The grandson of Dick Hammer is rolling in it right now.
Damn. So they go and get a 3rd round pick for Geno just to turn around and pay Darnold.
I mean, you knew that was coming, though. Like, I mean, you knew that
Yeah.
the Seahawks had to be in on him pretty heavy for them to just move off Geno.
Do you think the Seahawks spend any money in free agency at receiver, or do you think that's their 1st round pick now?
Oh man, I don't know. Because they still have JSN.
He's the only guy they have left because
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett got released. Obviously, they traded DK, which was the big news of the weekend.
They could go 1st round. I mean, they could go O-line in the 1st round.
They're definitely going to need some O-linemen.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know that roster that well right now, honestly.
Nothing like a freaking Shefty bomb. Sam Darnold. Oh, now the market's starting to move. Whoa. That one felt good. We needed that one. Jay agrees. He thinks a 1st round pick at receiver. JSN is a monster. I've been harassed by friends for trading JSN in a dynasty league this offseason, but in fairness, I got a 1st and Chuba Hubbard out of it. So like I needed running backs. So we needed to get ahead of it. But
speaking of running backs, Ron, when do you want to do our show this week? We
Yeah,
got a running
that's
back
right.
episode this week.
We do got a running back episode this week. I am pretty open. What's the best night? Maybe Thursday,
Okay, Thursday is good for me.
if that would work for you.
Like I said, I literally just got in town like now, so I haven't even thought about my schedule much. But like Thursday's usually
a good
for
night.
me. Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I'd say let's run Thursday. Let's talk about some running backs. It honestly, it also gives me a chance to. There's like 2 or 3 guys that I still want to watch at least one game on that I haven't gotten to yet. So that'll give me a few days to get caught up.
Fun fact for the audience here: Sam Darnold's grandfather, his name was Dick Hammer.
Electric.
And he won a national championship in Olympics. He was an Olympic volleyball player and went on to be the Marlboro Man.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Dick Hammer, Marlboro Man, and an American hero.
Wow. That's crazy. Dick Hammer. What a legend.
It's one of the greatest names I've ever heard. And then you find out he was the Marlboro Man, and you're like, what?
Man, I don't even know how to mentally handle that right now. That's crazy. Dick Hammer, Marlboro Man, and Sam Darnold's grandfather.
You knew he was going to succeed with a lineage like that.
Absolute bonkers. Jay with a Travion Henderson, 2nd best running back in the draft, followed by Dylan Sampson. Yeah. I like Travion too. He's my guy. I love him.
Jay,
You know what I want?
Like Travion. I don't love Travion though.
I love Travion. I just don't love Travion with the Bears. I just don't think the fit's there. I think he can go quite a few other places and be very good.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to fit with the Bears. Honestly, unfortunately, like I think Judkins is the Ohio State back that fits better with the Bears.
Yeah,
for what he does. Also, I didn't even think about this. Darnold going to Seattle. Clint Kubiak is the OC there, and they worked together when they were. So that fit makes a whole lot of sense. Ooh, former Vikings tight end Johnny Munt is going to Jacksonville. 2 years, $5.5 million. Yeah, the market's really starting to pick up now.
Johnny Munt's a great tight end name.
That is a great tight end name. Johnny Munt.
Just sounds like a tight end.
Geno Smith turned down a similar deal to Darnold's in Seattle, and the Seahawks end up trading him to Vegas, get a 3rd, and then they get their new quarterback. Crazy.
So, I mean, yeah, he basically got the Baker contract.
Yeah, he effectively did. He got the Baker contract with like mild inflation. It's literally what it was.
Yeah.
Mr. Marlone. Yeah, this is direct quote from Tom Pelissero here. But yeah, Geno Smith turned down a similar deal in Seattle. Seahawks ended up trading in Vegas, picked up a 3rd, land their QB, a new number 14 in Seattle. Yeah, he can take DK's old number.
Yeah.
Like,
I was trying to think who's number 14 yet. Okay, DK.
DK was, yeah. Tearing down a roster, it was a win away from the playoffs to build around Sam Darnold is a choice. Yes, it is. See, that's half of the commentary that I enjoy about free agency is what everybody says about all the other moves.
Yeah.
That's the part I enjoy the most. Oh.
I enjoy the friends we make along the way the most.
We can make along the way the most. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Spencer Knight and Net. Do we have like lineups? No.
So have any not one edge rusher domino has fallen yet, except for like Mac returning.
Yeah, nothing's happened on the edge front yet. Nothing has happened on the edge front yet.
I guess Hassan Reddick, he signed, didn't he?
Yeah, Reddick was the first one, but like that almost feels like last year when the Bears went out and got Byard. Like that was the first safety move, but it was like at less value than probably a lot of the guys are going to go for.
Yeah,
that's kind of what that one feels like.
Yeah, I agree.
They were just like, hey, we like the player. We don't, and they don't really need Reddick to come in and be the guy because they have a lot of guys there with like Cansey and some of those other guys. So like they just need Reddick to come in and like just have an impact.
Yeah.
And 1 year for what, 12 or it's 14 million with like, I think it's what, 12 and a half if it's guaranteed. So like he's pretty much guaranteed the whole contract, but like 1 year, there's no such thing as a bad 1 year contract.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the market's just waiting for the Micah Parsons trade. Who needs Hendrickson when you get Parsons?
I think the market's waiting for you and I to jump off the live.
Yeah, to end this and then be like scrambling because the Bears make like a blockbuster trade for like someone who hasn't even been talked about this whole time.
Yeah,
like Micah Parsons.
Don't even say that to me,
dude. I feel so weird about Parsons. Like,
I do too. Like, truly do.
The dude wreaks havoc and gets sacks, but at the same time, I'm like, I just feel like I don't know that he is a bucket getter. Like when you need a play, I don't know if he's the guy who makes that play. Like, bucket. But his stats are awesome, and like he gets he accumulates a ton of stuff. Like I don't know. I think he's an awesome football player. I think he's great. There's something about his size profile and athletic profile that just it doesn't fit cleanly to me, and that just makes me feel weird about it. Which is probably like old fogey, like old time football coach stuff. But
we got an interesting one here from Tom. Do the Bears draft the safety this year or next?
You should draft day 3 safeties every single year.
Yeah.
Say the NFL struggles to evaluate safeties. Everyone struggles to evaluate safeties. There are starters picked on day 3 every single year. You should take a shot every year on one, in my opinion, because they're there to be had and they're misevaluated all the time.
Oh, quick update on the Darnold contract. It is 3 years for 100.5. So it's literally the Baker contract. Yeah. It's not 110.5. That was.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
It's 100.5. So it's literally almost identical to the Baker contract.
55 guaranteed is what I saw on here.
Jay says Micah Parsons is the Jordan Poole of the NFL.
I mean, that's what scares me about him. Like that is a great way to describe what I was trying to say. Of like, I don't know if he's getting the bucket in the big moment for you.
Darius Slay signing with the Steelers, just going to the other side of Pennsylvania.
I mean, that's a long way. It's like a 6-hour drive.
It is. I know, it's crazy. Pittsburgh at this point might as well be Ohio. Like it's so far west compared to Philly.
This is one of my favorite questions to ask people. One of my favorite geography questions to ask people.
I love it.
Is Pittsburgh in the Midwest?
They teeter on the border of it, though, man. I'm telling you. So I can attest to this because I finally got to Pittsburgh last year. For the first time, I got to go to Pittsburgh, and man, like from a people and like the food they eat and just the vibe of Pittsburgh, it's 100% a Midwest city, but it's like just it teeters on the gray area of being on the East Coast and in the Midwest.
Right, but their
And
whole vibe is so Midwest.
It's so
Like,
Midwest. Yeah, it's the complete opposite of Philadelphia.
yeah,
Like they love their sports teams. You know, they you know, it's a small city. Like I never realized how small Pittsburgh is. It's only like 400,000 people.
yeah,
I'd say only, but I also grew up in a suburb that was like 58,000 people. So like small, especially when you live near Chicago where it's 3.7 million people. But it's like, oh man, you know, I think I would call them Midwest.
yeah. And to Tom here saying the problem with day 3 picks, we don't have a 4th rounder. I mean,
got 2 5s though.
Yeah, Adrian Amos, like
he was the
right
fifth.
there.
Yeah.
Kitano Adapo last year went to the Packers in the 5th. He did some stuff this year for them. Like there are quality players at safety throughout the 4th and 5th rounds that you can find. And so just not having a 4th, the 5th will serve the purpose as well.
Oh,
and like I hate to bet on 6 and 7s though. That is the tough area.
Yeah, I would say no later than 5s. Mr. Marlon Moe here says, should the Bears skip running back in the 2nd round and draft all trenches with their first 3 picks? I say no. I think they should get a running back in the 2nd round, unless they're taking Genty in the 1st round.
I would be okay with it. Like, I don't think you need. I think they do take a running back in the 1st.
I agree. I don't think they need to, but like, this is the year if you're going to take a running back, you can absolutely take a running back in the 3rd round.
Yeah,
and still get a really good running back. If there's ever been a year, it's this year.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I don't think they
trade all 3 round picks this year. The Bears don't have any round 6 picks. It's 2 5s. They have the 1, the 2 2s, the 3, and 2 5s because the only 6 they had got traded to Los Angeles for Jackson. And then next year they have what 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3,
something like that.
Yeah. Quick update here: the Paulson Adebo contract is not $30 million. Rather, it is $54 million over 3 years.
Okay, so that's a lot closer to what it was like. Because it would have been like what 39, I think, was the market for the SMA market 40. So like he went over.
Yeah, he went way over. $18 million per year with $36 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
for Paulson Adebo. That's in New York. There was also Eric Murray signing with the Jaguars, former Texans safety. 3 years, $22.5 million with $12 million guaranteed.
Feels like a lot for. I don't know much about Eric Murray, but like that's why I feel like that's a lot for.
Agreed. That's a fun one. Yeah, now the market's starting to pick up some steam. I really do think that Williams deal was the thing holding everything up, which is kind of funny. But it's moving, man. It's moving. Hugh, I know you've got things to do. Are we waiting this out until 2:00 Central Time, or should we call it now and then the Bears can go make their move because we all know Ryan Poles is just waiting for us to get off the air?
I can do like 10 more minutes, like 1:45 is kind of when I have to jump.
Okay, deal. We'll settle on that 1:45. So a big shout out first off to everybody that is listening, has been listening, and joined us because midday shows are fun and a lot different. We did get one actual Bears signing to talk about, which was awesome, and Drew Dahlman. I think that was the most expected one. I don't think anybody was, was surprised by that one per se. It was more just seeing what the dollars came in at the end of the day. And man, we're hoping something else happens. But,
hope they give us something to cling on to here.
We'll have to wait and see here if they do anything. I'm like frantically refreshing. We have hit that point in the day.
Yeah, and to Tom G, I mean, I think picking up a 4th with a trade down is a great idea. Trading up for one gives me a lot of heartburn. It feels like we burn some picks unnecessarily at times. But trading down, I mean, I'm all for a trade down somewhere in the top 50. like either any of the Bears' first 3 picks, I think you can consider a trade down at. It's just a question of who wants to trade up. And I think your odds of making a trade down happen are a lot higher at 39 and 41 than they are at 10, because I just don't know who's trying to get to 10. I think it's a tough draft to make that happen for good value.
You stole the thoughts right out of my head, Q. I was thinking the exact same thing when we were talking trade down, was like, oh, this is exactly what it is. Like, this is the draft where you want those second and thirds. So like, if anybody's going to move up, it's going to be in those, like, that early second round, and the Bears having 2 picks there. I could absolutely, especially I think if the Bears are happy with what they do at 10 and 39, I could absolutely see a world where they take 41 and maybe they move back to like 48 or something like the low 50s and try to pick up like a 4 and maybe even like another pick next year if you get into a bidding war with a couple of teams.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there are a lot of players I see a lot of reason to be interested in that 40 range.
Justin Fields is going to the New York Jets.
Ooh, New York Football Jets.
New York Jets getting Justin.
You know who Justin Field has lit up over the course of his career? The Jets' new head coach.
That's facts. You want to know something even funnier? Justin Fields got $30 million guaranteed. It's 2 years, $40 million from the Jets.
David Mulgeta is good at his job. I'll tell you that.
He is. David Mulgeta just made Justin a lot of money.
Yeah. Holy cow. So he's their undisputed starter, right?
He's got to be.
Good for Justin.
That breach is undisputed to me. 49ers and Chargers also in conversations that have Jameis coming as a backup. It seems like everybody and their brother wants Jameis as their number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
Which, hey, good for him.
Famous Jameis, man. I mean, how can you not want that in your locker room? The guy's a blast.
Yeah, it's true. I absolutely love that for any team. If the Bears didn't already have Bagent, like, I would be on the get Jameis to Chicago train as well. Yeah. I would love to see Jameis. It would be awesome. Oh, man. Shit's getting wild. Wow, 2 years, $40 million for Justin Fields. Oh,
wonder what you said 30 guaranteed. So
30 guaranteed.
5% of that contract is guaranteed.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jay Betts with a question. Well, first off, I agree with Tom G here. Good for him. I'm super happy for Justin Fields. Super duper happy for Justin Fields. Super duper happy for my dynasty team too. I have Justin Fields on one of my dynasty teams.
There you go.
Russell Wilson staying in Pittsburgh, or will it be Rodgers? I have no idea.
I'd think Russ.
I think they go to Rodgers.
Interesting.
Could you imagine the appointment television of having Pickens, DK, and Rodgers in the same offense? Like, yeah, I would watch the Steelers regularly just to see the chaos that ensues.
I don't know. I mean, a part of me feels like Rodgers is a weird personality. Arthur Smith is a weird personality. Like, I don't know how that meshes. And you just went and got DK, who Russ has a lot of chemistry with. Like, yeah. That's why I lean Russ. But, like, you're right. Like, from the marketability standpoint, like, Aaron Rodgers going there would be big. Like, Pittsburgh people love their team. And that would be just instantly exciting for their team.
Definitely. Yeah, it would. It definitely would.
And good point by Jay. Tomlin just thrives in the chaos.
That's true. He does. He
does throw that guy as much chaos as possible, and they're going to win like 14 games.
Yeah, and they're actually going to probably
make that barn red. Like,
they're actually going to try to make a real playoff push for the first time in quite a few years.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is I love days like today. Oh, The Vikings are losing an important piece. Former Vikings safety Cam Bynum and the Colts have agreed to a 4-year, $60 million deal.
Oof.
So bye-bye Cam Bynum. Oh, yeah. Shit's starting to steamroll now.
That's really interesting because Bynum is such a chess piece for Brian Flores. And I'm not sure how the Colts defense is going to play. Who's the Colts defensive coordinator now?
That's a fantastic question that I don't have an answer to.
I thought it was still Gus Bradley, but I don't know. No, it's Lou Anarumo now. Okay. That's interesting. Because that's a very different defense.
Yes. Significantly different.
But I trust Lou Anarumo to know what he wants at the position. So that's really interesting.
Does make for there's I feel like at the end of free agency, there's always like a couple of those picks where you go, wow, like, yeah, that's a really good player that you just gave a lot of money to, and like don't ever, see anything wrong with that, aspect of it. But it's like, I agree with you where it's like, wow, does that fit really feel right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Bears. The Bears just took advantage of a free agency signing from last offseason going awry in Jonah Jackson. Both sides saying it just wasn't a match and it was a bad fit. Like, fit is a real thing with these guys and teams. And like, I agree. I think the Cam Bynum one is just a little different, I guess. Like, of like,
and then Tom saying he thinks the Raiders sign Aaron Rodgers, but Tom, the Raiders did just trade for Geno Smith the other day. So they do have their quarterback.
Yeah, Geno is going to look great. You know what? Damn the NFL for doing this shit when like St. Patty's Day celebrations are starting. Because like everybody and their brother, it was nice everywhere in the country this weekend, so nobody was looking at their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL went absolutely stupid on Sunday.
Yeah, I missed a bunch of it because I was out of town, like doing stuff.
It was
damn all day yesterday. I wasn't looking at my phone,
bonkers. The league went stupid. Like, I think a lot of people don't even realize that Devontae Adams is a Los Angeles Ram.
Yeah, I caught that this morning. I was like, okay.
There was some crazy shit that happened. Josh Allen got paid. Like, it was crazy stuff. Samaje Perine was originally reported to the Bucs, and somebody came out and said that he did not sign with the Bucs. That was a crappy report, for what that's worth. Because there was I saw a lot of people freaking out about what does it mean for Bucky, because everybody loved Bucky Irving.
Everyone should love Bucky Irving.
I loved Bucky. I remember you and I talked about it on that running back show last year. I was like, I don't know why people don't like this guy. Like, his tape is awesome.
His tape was so good.
Oh yeah, wow. The reported contract for Perine was 3 years and $22 million. No wonder everybody was freaking the fuck out. Yeah, that didn't happen. That's bad information. Bad information. Don't you love bad information? Is that Jordan Howard?
Jordan Howard.
Oh. Never mind. Disregard.
Jordan Howard's been relevant for a few years.
Oh.
What?
Big fish. Bears are getting Dio. I'm going to butcher his last name.
Ingbo?
Yeah.
Okay. Bears get
Brad Biggs. And Biggs is well connected.
Biggs' word is cool. If he's saying they signed him, he has it on lock that they signed him. Like, I'm not questioning that.
Ooh, I'm waiting for the money. I'm waiting for the money.
Got to see what the money is on this, because this.
I'm waiting for the money.
Like, it could be a lot, and it's like, I don't know about that. Or it could be like, if it's not a ton, I don't know. This is the first big edge piece, though.
This is the first big edge piece, yeah, because Sweat is still out on the market. Oh, boy. Hell yeah, let's get weird. Yep, and Ian Rappaport just confirmed it. He quote tweeted.
Okay.
He quote tweeted Biggs, and now Jordan Schultz also just reported it. So it's gospel.
Okay, so let's see. What's Deo? What does his numbers look like? I know he's on the rise. He's young.
Yeah, he's only what, 25?
25 and a half, 6'6", 286 pounds. Had
What's his
40
arm length?
Oh, it's freaky.
I know, that's what I'm saying, because that's a Dennis Allen thing. That's why I wanted to say that.
I mean, this is a Dennis Allen edge rusher, that's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely a scheme fit for sure.
35 and a quarter inch arms.
Oh yeah, that's a freak.
In 2023, he had 12 sacks according to PFF. He only had 4 last year, though. He had more pressures last year than he did 2 years ago, but way fewer sacks.
But do you think also part of that though is just a repercussion of that Indianapolis defense just not being that great either in terms of rushing the passer?
Oh, probably. Like there has to be some of that going on.
I sit here and think like, well, if you put him opposite of a Montez Sweat and a 3-year deal is the report, that's not bad.
I mean, he's going to be able to stuff up the run better, like just because of his size.
$16 million a year with $32 million guaranteed is the number.
I don't love the number, but I mean, I get it. You know, it comes in a little lower than he was projected, which is, you know, that's nice at least.
Yeah.
I don't love the value, but I don't necessarily hate it just because you needed a starting edge, and he's a starting edge. You know?
Yeah, he is a starting edge.
I don't think you paid him like an edge, like a number 1 edge rusher. So I like that. I hope the upside is real. Basically, this could look really good or like crappy in a year.
Really good or really bad.
You just don't know which way it's going to go right now.
I will say the nice thing with it though, being a 3-year deal with effectively 2 years of money guaranteed. If it doesn't go well, year 3 you can axe it.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with both signings the Bears have made. They're both 3-year deals. They're both very heavily probably front-loaded deals in terms of guaranteed dollars. That makes that 3rd year, if things go south, easy to part with from a cap perspective.
And you know what, Ron? There's no world where Javon Kinlaw should have gotten more money than Dio Ode. Like this, for what we've seen in this market today, this actually feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Like that is not, it came in under projection. It is not breaking any markets. It's a 25-year-old who has upside to continue to get better. And this smells to me like the Bears were tired of waiting on Sweat and said, you know what? We like this. We've got this. We're taking this.
Yeah, I definitely do think they kicked the tires on Sweat. Like it would, like it would be hard to imagine. Would be hard to imagine that they didn't at least give Sweat's camp a call and just say like, "What's your number?"
Well, like we said earlier today too, like the Bears are now in a position to go. Like they don't have a direct need at 10.
No, they really don't.
They can go wherever they want, really, at 10.
Yeah, they really can. Jay had a comment here, said cap always go up, it'll be cheap next year. Agreed. And then the last glaring hole, show it up for $60 million, as Sonny notes, good with it, especially the other numbers we've been seeing today. Yep, just like you said, Q. When you look at some of the other signings that have happened already, to me, this number doesn't feel gross. Like,
yeah,
I sit here and go, okay. And like you said, if he outplays that contract, great.
Yeah.
You know, and if he doesn't outplay it, okay, you took a swing on a guy, it didn't work out. That's free agency, baby. And then you keep moving on and you keep looking.
I think there's some versatility that Dennis Allen's going to really like with him too, as far as inside, outside, being able to play kind of all over the line. Because he can play some 3 tech, he can play 5 tech, he can kick out like further outside the tackle. He does offer you that versatility with that size, 286 pounds. Like that is a big edge.
Big dude. And he's 6'6". Like that's just disgusting length.
Yeah.
And size. He's massive.
So the PFF profile for him, the free agent profile, says Odeyingbo has had a patient but steady ascent over his NFL tenure after he sustained an unfortunate Achilles injury during the pre-draft process that still didn't drop him past the second round of the 2021 NFL Draft. His game has rounded into form over the past 2 seasons, headlined by 8 sacks in 2023, followed by career-high 7 tackles for loss or no gain on 67% of snaps played in 2024. So he seems like he's a guy on the rise.
Yeah. You know what's hysterical? We almost jumped off and this move would have happened as soon as we
Yeah.
jumped off. I told you. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. And glad we hung in there.
We hung in there. Hey, we got 2 big moves, though. I think we all kind of, at least this is how I felt, Q, and I think a lot of Bears fans in general felt this way, of like, if they come away on day 1 of free agency with an edge and a center, anything else that happens is gravy, and you go into the draft with endless possibilities.
Right.
I think that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah. You need to fill in some depth here and there still, but like you feel like your starting lineup is in good shape now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like you have a respectable starting group, and from here it's like you said, let's go get a depth D tackle, because this is the year to do it. It's a great free agency class. You can still draft one as well, because it's a great draft class too.
The defensive tackle draft class is like you can't miss on it. Like they're not can't miss prospects, but you need to be picking some of these guys because it does not get this
Much
deep
better.
often.
Yeah. So it's like, I think a lot of the areas where the Bears need depth, there's a lot of options and they have a lot of flexibility with that. And I think that's what's most important here. And now you look at the rest of your offensive line. Like, if Braxton Jones is your weakest point on your offensive line, you're in really good shape in the NFL.
Yeah.
Really good shape. And now it's just, okay, you figure one of their first 4 picks is a running back. And then outside of that, have fun. Do whatever's right, Ryan Poles, because you've positioned yourself where now, like, BPA can effectively be most of their draft strategy in the end of April.
Yeah, you probably know you want to walk away with an offensive lineman, a defensive tackle, and an edge somewhere in the first 4 picks each. But like, you don't have you're not locked into anything. You can move wherever you want in the draft. Like, you don't feel like you can't pass on this player because you just have this hole that you need to fill. You can move around and try to kind of play with it.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, again, kind of reiterating what we've talked about, and Sonny said it best. Like, it's nice to now kind of sit back as a Bears fan and go, okay, they've pretty much addressed most of the big things they needed to address. And now from here, it's everything else is just gravy and depth to try and make the deeper part of this team better.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
It's good stuff. But Ron, I wish it came out with a little earlier. I do got to run.
No, I was going to say, honestly, I think that we timed it up perfectly. This was great.
Yeah.
We got to end it with a big free agency signing. We pretty much started it with a big free agency signing as well. So kind of got 2 bookends here. A lot of great content, a lot of fun. And obviously it's just going to keep getting better from here. But Q, I'll let you take it away, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for jumping on with us, watching along, and going through the 2025 free agent experience with us. Make sure to check out our work over at OnTapSportsNet.com and the Bears on Tap podcast. And Ron, how you feeling about a good old Bear Down?
Oh, I'm feeling really good about a Bear Down today, baby.
Bear Down.